Hello, hello, Danger Noodles. I am so sorry for being so late. Things out of my control happened, and I could not come in anytime sooner. I hope you can forgive that. Yeah, things happen with Busta, in case anyone doesn't know, and he is fine now. But uh, hopefully he'll stay that way. But anyways, Hatchet, go ahead and read your first SCP. 20.
This is a
Huh?
this is a personal announcement to anyone who would ever say that they do not forgive you for being late taking care of your dog. I hope Needhog has fun ripping you apart in your afterlife.
Oh
Anyway,
my.
anyway, uh, this SCP is 2 dots, 5 dots, 2 dots, 1 dots. It's we got a very fine photograph here with a lock with K on it, meaning Keter. The containment procedures right here is I imagine that's what's meant to be containment procedures.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah, it is.
we've got Mr. Lanky Boy is showing that we can show him in pictures, but we can't put writing, we can't put him in text documents, and we can't talk about him. We're not allowed to talk about him. Don't talk about Fight Club. This guy's Fight Club now. The pictures describing him can be read by O5s and 4s, but 0, 1, 2s, and 3s, not allowed. Don't want the janitors learning about it.
Well, it also means like doctors that are not site leaders
Yeah.
are not allowed to read it. So technically, me and Hatchet are not. You know what? We have permission via Bright.
Yeah!
Yay. Little did you know, I'm actually an O5 council member, and I consistently stab the other council members in the back.
Oh my
No,
Anyway,
god.
you're not.
so I assume means information or description. We've got Lanky Boy here. He's about a solid. This is probably measured in meters, so he's about 2.5 meters tall. Very, very tall boy. He's got spindly fingers that look like ribbons, and he's got other questionable appendages with ooze. Um, you can't put him in a box. He just goes right out the box. He just leaves the cage, just goes straight to the wall. Good for him. He his brain can perceive when he's being talked about or written about, but he does not understand graphics. He does not understand clip art. It's very important. And pie charts, apparently.
Basically,
Uh,
he does not understand
yeah,
the art as a whole.
yeah. I can think of a lot of conservatives like that.
Ow.
Anyway, we got experiments here with a little clipboard. We have Mr. D class with the absolute schnoz, gigantic triangle nose. For some reason that's the only defining feature they gave the D class is just a nose. So he's got a real good schnoz, and he is told to write down information based upon the graphics. And Mr. Lanky Boy comes on in, and he really really loves to see information about him. So he picks up what the D class wrote, and then he just goes away. And then the D class has a good old the fetal position under the table moment. Good for him. Experiment B consists of the D class standing in the same dark room, and he looks at the graphics, and he's told, "Hey, you should talk about the graphics." So the D class talks about the graphics, and Mr. Lanky Boy comes in and does a little bit of suspicious activities with the D class, and then the D class is gone because he got whisked off to Hentai Land. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's actually one canon I love with this SCP. I'm gonna say before we go to the thumbnail and everything. Basically, when you speak its name or whatever, it acts the same as the Fae, and I forgot what 4,000 number. And you get taken to
Oh.
this corridor and thrown into like this cage. He's free and turned back to looking like a human, and you take his place, saying he basically said he always wanted to be free because the Fae already took his place. So the Fae's already gone. It's just that humans are constantly being turned into the Fae.
I don't think he is a Fae, but I will say that made me understand him a bit more because in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of old lore, things like names or speaking of something used to give that thing power. In this case, it gives its power and it really loves that person. So instead of, letting that person live, they take them away where all of its special toys go. Because a lot of old creatures, both the good, bad, and neutral, would sometimes see a shiny they liked and just take it. They
Yeah.
also considered people to be shinies.
I
Yeah.
just figured he really likes bondage and tentacles.
Oh my god. Yeah, the main reason why I like that canon is because basically we don't actually know what happened to all the Fae. We know what happened to the majority of the Fae in 001. We don't know what happened to all of them. We know some of them went in Dimension 4000 SCP, and the others are scattered. So that's why I kind of like that canon where he is one, and basically speaking of him makes you take his place.
To me, I like it being its own thing because while I do Fae and how they keep popping up in SCP lore, I do like things having its own stuff, and I do like things referencing the way older lore used to work.
Yeah.
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 I believe that is a picture of that SCP, the picture at the top.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
He's got lots of ribbons.
Yeah, I
He's
think
brought lots of ribbons to take you away,
Yay.
and you become one of their treasures for however long you live. We don't actually know if it knows how to feed people.
yeah. Yeah, and I think it was very much implied. It wasn't stated thoroughly, but it was implied that the heart on his face was the only thing left of the person's humanity, being their heart transformed into the face part,
Uh,
which is creepy.
I'll
Like,
just say,
yeah,
I'll just say, there's a lot of my Twitter mutuals that should not be allowed anywhere near information about this thing in the SCP universe.
I will say that I think they use the heart to express what the SCP is feeling because
Yeah.
remember, in one of the experiments, nothing happens to the D class besides trauma.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, in the other one, they're snatched away, but nothing steals away their heart or emotion. So, and often people use like signs or symbols near or on the face to show emotions. And
Yeah.
since it has no face, I guess that's the perfect spot to put it on the
yeah.
blank face.
Yep. Well, they no longer have the eye. They no longer have the heart eye. They have just red eyed.
How did they somehow make clickbait of an SCP that's already creepy enough as it is?
Why is this? Why does this look like I'm looking at a curse from Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because if you look at its actual thing, it's a lot more thicker and bulkier than whatever the fuck this is.
This.
Well, that's because if you look at the pictures of it, that's very basic, and the actual photo of it, I think it's suggestive that is at least part robotic in some sense. Kind of like something like we don't know what it is, but it's probably closer to
Five
being
Guys ruined me.
metallic than it is fleshy.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
well-
Bookworm. You you broke the next goal.
So they basically took a figure that's supposed to look not so alive, but somehow alive at the same time, and they turned it into the mummy's curse. They took what's supposed to look like ribbony like long appendages that can grow and turned it into mist. They basically changed the SCP's design so much that the only thing that's similar is humanoid shape and dark. They didn't even technically keep the color, which is pitch black.
Yeah.
Though to be fair, that looks to be a black and white photo.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell am I saying? It would still be able to see
Yeah,
differences in how dark it is.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Even if it's black and white, you'd still see the differences in color.
Yeah.
Like how you can see in the snow that there's probably some suggestions of color with the bits of gray,
Yeah.
even in the sky. But he's just like this, or they. We do not know the gender of it. They are just like this black figure with with tendrils, many tendrils that they grab things with, or people.
Yeah.
So I'd say a 3 or a 4.
I agree.
I feel like it could be like more clickbaity, which is why I'd lean toward 3, but otherwise, like, yeah,
I
it
also
just doesn't have the same aura.
No.
I also think it's basically a 3. They literally changed its design in every way besides humanoid shape. And the only reason it's not a 4 is because they could have done worse.
See,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I have never watched Jujutsu Kaisen whatsoever, and I don't plan to because it's not really my thing. But even then, I do agree it does look like something from Jujutsu Kaisen. I've seen clips of it, and it does look like something you would see.
It's got the vibe of a curse from JJK.
Yeah. Also, Bookworm, since you probably weren't here at the beginning of the stream, I sent you a reason as to why I was late to stream.
Book's been sitting there for 2 hours on top of the $50 he's gonna launch into the Immune Deficiency Foundation.
Honestly, I am so happy what's going on with this, like, charity thing, because, like, this is the most we've ever raised, and I'm so happy.
Based.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Based and immune deficiency pilled.
Yeah.
Wait,
Mm.
would that imply that it's a pill that helps treat immune deficiency, or is that it's a pill that gives you immune deficiency? Let's move on.
Yeah. Alright. Shut the fuck up. Alright.
Okay, so my first question is, how the fuck are they gonna make this 12 minutes long?
Right. Also, they did put the license. Oh no, are they gonna do one of its canon stories? Like the one I meant. If they do the one I
Oh,
mentioned.
did you generate the random bingo card?
Yeah, I just have to add it right now.
Okay.
I did randomize it before stream
There are
happened.
many options it can go for, but which options will it pick?
Racism!
Oh,
I guess, does it mention if it's using any given story?
No.
did it give credit?
Yeah, I gave credit.
didn't mention all the authors of the P file, because that one has actually quite a few people listed.
It only contains Lurk D. But Lurk D also created all the
Oh, you're right,
pictures.
Lark D. What, no?
Oh, wait.
Philip O'Ray. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't see that at first, so yeah, he's not included. Or she, I'm not gonna assume.
Philip
Alright.
O'Ray.
Yeah, they. Oh, and this is actually copyrighted. Right here. In this license.
Oh.
Swallow in the Sky.
Is very... it's probably referring to the picture.
Yeah.
Also, it's very important that I mention that my childhood friend and I are now yelling lines from Star Wars Battlefront 2's random splash dialogue at each other in our DMs.
Oh my god. I forgot which Battlefront Star Wars game it was, but I do remember playing one. And
Get it? Go ahead.
people hated me because the second I was able to become Emperor Palpatine, I would just constantly heal myself and kill people.
That would have to be one of the EA ones, or well, not the EA ones, but the newer ones.
Yeah, I would also heal other people like Vader and Boba Fett. I would just hear them screaming. Because the healing thing would like come by too quickly, in my opinion. Yeah. I was a menace. I can't believe I did a British thing right now. I went to take a drink, and I lifted my pinky finger, but not my other fingers. I don't know why I did it. I have become British. Anyways, everyone ready to watch how horribly they're gonna go with this?
Let's do it.
Yay.
Yay, let's see how many false copyright claims I can get this time. And let's see if they actually get the number correct. Because one of those... yeah, one of them was like for the 500 SCP. I forgot which number it was, but they put it as SCP-099, the portrait. I'm like, what? Alright, let's deal with this. 3, 2, 1.
The subject waited for a period of 84 seconds. Nothing happened. Then, the subject felt a presence materialize behind him, and SCP...
What is that?
It's the Cthulhu mummy coming to take their prize. That looks way too fleshy to be the SCP.
The way that the fucking tentacles are just wagging like a dog's tail on one side of their body.
How did they somehow make it look more perverted?
Clickbait.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they've been watching too much hentai?
Maybe. Also, apparently they think the heart is literal.
I guess.
When even like in the story I read, even though the heart was implied being morphed, it doesn't always appear. It only appears when, people speak of it. In a sense, like it shows in the article. So even then, it doesn't constantly stay there. We're only 10 seconds in.
Maybe they think it's a one eyeball, which it's not.
3, 2, 1.
2521 appeared. The creature then grabbed the subject without any warning and disappeared with the subject in hand. The subject was never found again and is presumed dead. Meanwhile, SCP-2521 continues to roam freely. Welcome back
What?
to
What if they don't know where it is?
They
Continues
don't know
to
where
wander.
it is, where it goes.
They're just wandering around the desert. It's Desert Bigfoot with teleportation powers.
Yeah. Like, pretty much all canons I've read so far mainly assume that 2521 is just in another dimension. Then comes to ours and teleports. Like, they don't know where he is. Or she, or they. Whatever the fuck they go with.
The other dimension is where he stashes all the guys he kidnaps.
He stashes them there for reasons.
Mm. They are his treasures.
Mm.
There's probably stuff written about that.
Mm-hmm.
Gay tentacle pour.
Yeah.
Also, just in case anyone is wondering why I'm not super energized, is because what happened earlier. But today, I did not take a nap. The second reason why I was late to stream is because I passed out worrying over Busta. Like taking care and passing out with him. So yeah, I'm not gonna be super high
Everyone who's
energy.
ever had a pet or even hasn't had a pet, I'm sure stand it.
Yeah.
We're going to launch a ballistic hug nuke at you.
Yeah.
It's a nuke, but hugs.
Yeah. And thanks, Bookworm.
SCP Exposed. Today, we're bringing you an SCP case that has been made strictly confidential to the public eye by O5 personnel.
That's literally
oh
every SCP.
Like, why does he act like the SCP Foundation is some like pseudo discussed government organization rather than a literal secret society of sorts?
Oh my gosh, I just realized. He's part of a group of interest. He's part of Parawatch.
Oh. Actually makes a lot of sense. I hate it.
I don't like it.
I still love how they have like a crypto theorist group of interest within the SCP universe. It's really funny.
Crypto theorists.
I was trying to do cryptozoology and
Crypto theorists. They discuss the potentials of the elusive Bitcoin.
I actually said it wrong, but yeah.
But is currently undergoing experimentation to test SCP-2521's capabilities. 2521 is a Keter-class object of great strength and power. It is currently impossible to contain the entity.
I hated that echo. Because, like, it was so delayed. The echo was delayed. And I hated it.
I don't.
Maybe they won't get any worse.
Yeah, like, I've edited echoes before, and it's not hard to make them delayed. Not delayed that badly. It's not hard.
You say it's not going to get any worse, but look at how they're depicting him going through walls.
Are they trying to do this? Saying that he does the same thing as 106 and makes it a pocket dimension?
It kind of looks like that, but I don't think that's what they're going for. They're just bad.
Yeah.
I just don't know how else to depict him going through walls.
And 3, 2, 1.
Due to its ability to phase through walls, SCP-2521 is a large creature, standing almost twice the height of a normal human. Its entire body is covered in layers of sticky...
To click wrong SCP design.
Yeah, like, we've got weird, constantly flapping tentacle tails.
He has no
and now he's
arms.
saying, and now he's saying twice the height of a human. No, he fucking is not. He's got a couple heads on the average human, but he's not twice the height of the average human.
Also, the height of the average human depends on the area.
Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
too.
Also, their face is not constantly a heart. We don't actually know if it actually gets a heart. It's just an expression of the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said before, even the one canon I like, the heart isn't permanently there. It's only when.
This is
Yeah.
just like this feels like someone applying like mythic literalism, but to an SCP drawing. Oh, the heart is literally there.
No.
There was literally 500 people raised from the dead.
As someone who has researched symbolism for as long as I can recall, I hate people like that, and they exist.
Yeah.
Creationists.
We're only a
The
minute
Earth
in.
is literally 6,000 years old.
And they
The
make up
universe.
all this weird bullshit that makes no sense just so they can believe what they believe. Which
God put.
includes to like literally fossils are God's like goodie tests.
That's exactly what I was gonna joke about. Yeah. Or you could go the Mormon route and say that fossils are actually extraterrestrial dead animals that were mashed together into our world because for some reason Mormonism needed to be even more cracked out than already existing, like
Oh yeah.
creationist Christianity.
Well, let us remember that Mormons literally think the darker your skin, the more sinful you are.
They were left
Yeah.
as a trick by Satan.
And I like to think none of my dads. We. Let us press play.
Yeah, anyway, let's watch more about this tentacle bearing relative of Cain.
Black tendrils that seem similar in appearance to ribbons, although it is unknown if it is made of these or is simply covered in them. The creature appears sentient and understands words, but is confused when
I thought the drawing of it couldn't get worse.
Okay, so this isn't supposed to be it. It's just like,
It basically looks similar to it, but in a raincoat.
yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I just realized the shadow in the poster does not match the entity.
I don't like the shadow.
Honestly, the shadow itself looks closer to the actual entity than their drawing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Anyways.
The real question is, do you think that
presented with
do you think that those bits of light there are meant to be there as glare, or do you think they just couldn't be fucked to completely color in the drawing?
Both.
Who knows?
images or other nonverbal forms of communication, such as graphs and symbols. A particularly interesting ability of SCP-2521 is its ability to remove or steal every piece of information about its nature, as long as the information is expressed in textual or verbal form.
Presumed dead according to a video by SCP Illustrated?
What?
That's one of the OG YouTubers, but they mainly go by the name Mr. Illustrated. They're like on par with being good as the Vulcan. Basically, I'm not sure if you know about them, but they basically drew Ouroboros Cycle. Sorry.
I was more just confused because I didn't know what you were looking at when you start talking about SCP Illustrated.
Right, yeah. I was like, the fuck? Why are you putting their name in here?
Yeah, as we all know, SCP Illustrated on YouTube is a canon source used by the SCP Foundation in universe to write their articles. Possible origin in the tale, please say my name. SCP-521 is depicted as pathetic. 52521. Nice. Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah. Wait, why does the picture kind of look like a Slender Man with a red face?
And judging by this picture, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that they couldn't be fucked to color it in. Not that that's supposed to be some kind of glare.
Yeah. It's everything is Slender Man, says Bookworm.
Form.
It's
For
time-
example, any pieces of writing
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
or audio recordings that have been made on 2521 have disappeared within a few seconds of completion. Because of that,
What?
nearly everything about
What?
him is registered by ideograms and pictures.
Wait, hold on, no. Let me go back. That's literally Slenderman's symbol right there. Right there, on top, the one that looks like a lollipop. If you remove the line, that's Slenderman's symbol. Oh my god.
They just put Slenderman's symbol alongside a bunch of other random squiggles. And it's like, yeah, this is how we depict the SCP, yeah.
Technically, one of those squiggles is basically the symbol for bullseye. One of those squiggles is a symbol for lake. One is literally a pair of glasses. One is a symbol for a lizard, and you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's the thing. In order to probably get away from the copyright of Slenderman's symbol, they just add a line to make it look like a lollipop.
Slenderman's symbol is not copyrighted.
Oh, I wasn't sure if it was or not. I know.
I like
Oh.
Slenderman propped up within fan creation.
The symbol isn't exclusive to Slenderman, but it is well known.
Right, yeah.
The Slenderman thing.
Yeah.
This could actually be taken as like a do not pass sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does basically, if you look at all these symbols together, you can tell they literally just pulled a bunch of random symbols and pasted it on there.
Yeah, also, I love Bookworm's message. They're the same thing, right? But, wait. Yeah, you're mixing up SCPs and creepypastas. They're the same thing, right? Both creepy and weird shit. No. We're very separate things.
You shall not pass. You shall not pass. It's confirmed. 2521 is Gandalf. Gandalf the Black.
Anyways, 3, 2, 1.
You, the viewers, may be wondering how this video is possible then. If SCP-2521 is capable of removing evidence of its existence. Well, this is part
It would
of the
be showing
Foundation's
up to
experiment.
take it, you fuckwit.
Yeah.
Gandalf is an SCP confirmed.
aka Alpha 2521-86, in which layers of security and protection have been.
What?
That doesn't exist. That never existed.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. You're wondering how they could extend it, Hatchet, and I think you got your answer.
So Hero's hoping that they'd make it based on some particular story or whatnot, but no, they're just gonna start making up bullshit.
Placed over this video tracing to prevent the creature from stealing or removing this video from online. However, the strength and durability of this layer of protection is fragile, and so we recommend you watch this video as soon as you can.
There's definitely ways to use the information on the SCP already there to make a plot that is relevant to the SCP instead of making random shit up.
Yeah, also...
The first,
You're
the first thing I think of is how the Vulcan went about doing this SCP, where he basically wrote a little story that was in reference to the SCP, but not directly about it, so it couldn't be
Mm-hmm.
picked up by the SCP.
Yeah. We all love the Vogan. Yeah, also, I like how he says, like, this video will soon be taken down because we don't know how long the wall's gonna last. It was uploaded January 15, 2021.
You have to watch this video. Please. The SCP. It'll take the video. Not YouTube. The SCP. It's coming for the video. If he was really dedicated, he would have deleted the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would actually have had some amount of respect for that. Or put it into unlisted and have it in a playlist.
Yeah. Anyways, 3, 2, 1.
And spread the word to your friends if you wish to know more about SCP-2521. SCP-2521 was first encountered by the Foundation in 1993 upon Site-14. A
What?
staff member of the Foundation was reported to
They
be in the
literally
bathroom
made it
stall of the
Yeah. I don't think it was even confirmed when they found it. I think it's
where they found it.
yeah, I think it's up to interpretation.
They're just adding bullshit.
Yeah.
Favorite activity, adding bullshit with the hunchbacks in Notre Dame coming in.
I will say, wherever they found it, it was probably somewhere.
Yeah.
second floor, Section C area of Site-14. The staff member was in the bathroom when other staff members outside in the hallway started hearing screams from inside the bathroom.
Are you just assuming it was in the bathroom waiting?
It's just slowly zooming in on these three guys that look mildly perturbed.
I'd like to also comment. Have we only been seeing white men so far?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, unless you count the SCP, but yes. There was a white lady somewhere, I think, but that's about it.
So it's a video about a bunch of white men scared of the one black man.
Oh no.
I joked about it being racist.
Maybe I'm wrong. Let's keep going.
3, 2, 1.
The last thing they heard was the members screaming, "What is that thing?" And then there was nothing but silence. When they burst into the bathroom stall 3 seconds later, there was no one there. There was no sign of the staff member, nor of the creature or thing that had taken him. An occurrence much like this happened 3 more times in the same year. This brought the Foundation's attention to these disappearances, and the experimentation was conducted to identify who this kidnapper was. Security cameras were placed in the 3 separate locations where these staff members had disappeared. However, the next appearance of what is presumed to be SCP-2521 did not occur in any of these locations.
What?
In fact, no more sightings were reported until 10 years later, in August of 2003.
What?
Agent Kelly
What?
and her child were present at Site 90. Agent Kelly had been asked to bring her child to work for experimentation regarding a separate SCP case.
That has to be an egregious breach of ethics code. They just bringing their kid to work day to use them in experimentation with something? Are you kidding me?
This is actually, I think, a part of a short story. I don't remember its name, but a child was taken by 2521.
Okay, so this is actually based upon something from the SCP, but I assume they're just adding the element of this doctor was asked to bring in their child.
Yeah, but in this story, they were already fully aware of 2521, and if I remember correctly, in the story, 2521 never took the child. They took the stuff they made, but they didn't take the child. Yeah. So, if they take the child... Let's see how bad... Again.
Due to the requirements of this experimentation, the child was placed in a separate room by himself. Scientists were stationed outside. The child had a table and chair, and a notebook and pencil to entertain himself with while scientists observed from outside. Agent Kelly was also present at the scene. Suddenly, the lights went off. The
What?
whole of Site 90
Did they
was
forget how
submerged
to
in
draw
darkness.
women?
Yes.
Did they know in the first place?
I don't know. It's just the first two women I see in this entire video drawn twice as badly as any of the men.
Yeah.
They try to draw Whammon, but then they get too flustered because they've never been near Whammon, so they just start drawing worse.
Yeah. Anyways, 3, 2, 1.
At this time, Agent Kelly, fearing for her child, rushed to his room to find him, but the door was locked. It seemed it had been locked from the inside. Agent Kelly demanded the scientists help her open the door, but they claimed they
Please
had not
don't
touched
make
the
us
lock button.
mark this as racist, please.
We'll see.
Something else had locked the door. Agent Kelly screamed for her son, but her son did not reply. The door wasn't unlocked for another 10 minutes. When it miraculously swung open, Agent Kelly rushed into the room to find her son still doodling in the notebook. Agent Kelly asked her son if he was all right. He replied that he was fine and that he had spoken to someone. When Agent Kelly asked who he had spoken to, the child lifted up his notebook to reveal
was
a
that?
childish drawing of SCP-2521. Security footage of the
no
event
idea.
was removed, instead displaying the text "Signal lost." When the child was asked why he had decided to draw a picture of his new friend, he
What the
replied,
shit is that?
It's like, oh, I add the robotic echo sound effects because it's spooky scary. Ooh,
Yeah.
I hate it here.
"Because I feel like I might forget if I don't." SCP-2521's exact origin is uncertain. Some researchers theorize it has something to do with SCP-1346-1. SCP-1346-1 is a room behind a normal-looking door at the end of the corridor which is designated to SCP-13.
This is leading into the story I just talked about.
Okay, so they're trying to lean into that story to have
Well-
it one time.
At least it hasn't gone racist yet.
Yeah.
1346. 1346 itself is the corridor that leads to the said room in an engineering company's basement level. At first glance, both the corridor and room appeared normal. However, reports of anomalous events in this corridor caused an investigation to be made by
I hate
Foundation
it.
personnel in 1987. Anomalous effects included the following. As subjects kept going down the corridor, they would begin to experience intense fear as they approached the door. This effect would eventually
Did
cause
they
subjects to refuse.
combine 2521 with the corridor?
Yes.
Those
Basically,
are two unrelated SCPs.
yeah.
Well, if they're going along with the story, then it makes sense that they need to also clarify what this other SCP that's based in that story does.
Yeah, but here's one other thing. When 2521 takes you there, you're not affected by its thing. This is for 2521 takes you there, of course. You're not affected because you're put behind that door, which hasn't been open in experiments. That's basically what I call it, the cage, because it's been referenced as the cage. So yeah.
So I don't feel like this actually classifies as marking off unrelated SCP because this is related within a particular story
Yeah.
Yeah.
or tale.
Yeah.
No.
To proceed further and go back. And when exiting the corridor, the fear would disappear and the subjects would be confused on why they were scared in the first place. Although in some cases, some subjects retain the trauma.
Okay.
Eventually, after some failed experiments, the Foundation sent a D-class member who had SCP-3031, a rare brain condition which made him unable to feel fear. This
What?
experiment somewhat worked as
I
the
think
D-class
it is
member
marked
didn't develop.
unrelated SCP.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Like, was this actually in the original SCP that's like this is talking about?
Don't. No, I do not recall that ever.
Then yeah, just the unrelated SCP.
Of fear. Foundation personnel asked him to enter the door via radiocom, and he managed to enter the room. Now, there's a reason why this experiment was a half failure, half success. For starters, it succeeded in the sense that Foundation personnel were able to access SCP-1346. However, the D-Class member never returned. He was still alive upon entry into the room of SCP-1346, but he had been imprisoned. Approximately 48 hours after the member had entered and remained unresponsive, a letter was slipped under the door containing the D-Class member's handwriting. It read, "Hi, this is Harold Marvey. I'm in the room, but I'm stuck. I can't get out. Turns out the room is actually a prison. Inside, there's a cage, and in the cage, there's this creature. When I entered the room, I took its place somehow. The creature is free now. I don't know if it's evil or not. I can't describe to you what it looks like now, cause otherwise they'll take me away. This is all I can say. Don't bother trying to rescue me. They already told me there's no hope, and they've proved it too. Tell my family I love them." The creature is presumed.
It was inferred that 2521 in the story became human, and he became the new 2521. How do you butcher the ending? It was very much implied. I hate this.
Are you remembering who this is, Bright?
Yes, I remember, but I hate it. How do you butcher a story so much?
And how many things have they already butchered?
A lot. They butchered the entire ending.
And you could have it all. My empire of dirt. My head hurts.
Same.
To be 2521, given that the D-Class couldn't describe it, since it would be taken away, meaning that SCP-1346 was the prison of the creature. Of course, this is not certain, although it is highly likely considering the Foundation's first discovery of SCP-2521 occurred within a week of this breakout. After intense research into SCP-2521, an old film recording was located in an abandoned warehouse that appeared to contain a story about the creature, communicated.
Oh, was it, huh?
Oh, they're going to the other story now. Please say my name.
Yeah. I just put the name of the fucking tale on this fucking VHS.
Yes.
Yay.
Through sign language.
Have they actually ever seen
Wait.
a VHS?
Hold on, did he say it was supposed to have, like, the title of its name through sign language? Hold on, I want to see that again.
Communicated through sign language.
Oh, communicated through sign language.
Interpreters were able to translate the sign language, and the video played as follows. The video was titled,
Once again,
"Please
I would
Say
like
My
to
Name."
say, have they ever seen a VHS tape?
No.
I feel like that's not the worst drawing of a VHS tape I've seen.
I think it's really bad, simply because we all know what it looks like, and it's not anywhere near that. It's literally, you see half of the circle, and it's not even going in the...
I mean, that's fair enough. I've just seen really bad drawings of VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Like if I was like said, "What do you think this is?" and they showed me a picture of that, a VHS tape would be in my top 5 guesses.
Mm-hmm.
Or a tape of some kind.
It basically looks like a tiny child's...
Actually, yeah, it's kind of like a scaled up cassette tape in how it's shown.
Yes, it is.
It's just big cassette tape. Big cassette.
They're like a VHS tape. Looks like a cassette tape.
Yeah.
I love VHS. Holds up cassette tape.
He was born into a cold and empty world. His location was irrelevant, for he only knew of two places, his barren home and the foreign outside world. He didn't know where he was, why he was there, or even who he was. All he knew was that he could hear and see what others said anywhere, at any time. He constantly stood vigilant, looking for more information, hoping someone could help him figure out himself. That is how he spent his days, listening and watching the whole
I just
world,
realized
waiting for a
something.
new breakthrough in a cold.
For SCP stories to contradict each other makes sense because different universes have different realities,
Yeah.
but both stories contradict each other. And both of the stories contradict what they've said of the SCP so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost as if there's a problem with just mashing all of these stories together without clearly stating that these are basically just potentialities.
Yeah. Yeah, let's put the story where he's a fae and the story where we don't even know what the fuck he is together.
Yeah, so as we all know, he's walking in this timeless void. We don't know where. He doesn't know where, but he's listening to everything. But he's also in that prison at the end of that hall, in that industrial complex. He's in both places simultaneously. Don't question it. He's like the one God. He's everywhere all at once. Good for him.
Anywhere and everywhere, all of the time. Oh my god, that song stuck in my head. God damn it.
Anything and everything, all of the time. A little bit of everything, all of the time. Happiness is threat. I forgot.
Yeah,
How
I
did
love the
forget those
SCP
words?
version of that one.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's continue.
Cold case for someone who could finally answer his existential questions. He was frequently left disappointed, however. He could see a story in a book about a tall, dark monster, but this one had teeth or scales, or tore out your guts in a haunted forest. He was
What?
almost always left just out of frame, only gathering pieces of a lookalike's life. The last time he met a human, they ran off screaming into the horizon.
Wait, this is the
Their
only time
orange
we see a
jumpsuit.
black person?
Our one time seeing a black person in this entire video is in grainy footage of what I assume is meant to be some Arabic man sprinting off into a desert.
Yeah.
It's very odd, to say the least.
Yeah, also they followed a horror movie trope where they're describing him looking like a monster with sharp teeth, and it's right from it.
The only thing he remembers is a black man running away. Oh man. The undertones, man.
Yeah.
How big do the undertones have to get before they become overtones?
It won't take long. Anyways.
Never to be seen again. Still, he waited. Eventually, he figured someone would learn about him and allow him to know his true nature. Eventually, his great mystery would be solved and his life given a sense of
What?
completion. Eventually, someone would say his name. If it wasn't for the tireless work of the Foundation to keep his very existence under lock and key, never to be mentioned again. It is unknown who recorded this video or when they recorded it. The video appears to be dated to the
Hold on, I have to look through Jerry's DMs because it actually is confirmed in a story what his name is, and it's not locked up. Well, except for level 4 and 05. I know I sent it to Jerry at some point.
Are you hurting, Hatchet?
No, I'm just dandy.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, this is from the Fairy Tale. I'm not gonna try and say his name because I don't know how to say his name. It's
Put in the chat.
yeah. Hold on. Fuck off, phone. Alright.
What an interesting bit of information you have definitely put in chat.
Yeah, hold on.
Did you put it somewhere?
I just copied it.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so hold on. Let me go in Discord now.
Tiagdict Ayan.
So chat can
Yeah,
see.
I'm
That's what I said.
I'm just trying to pronounce it myself as well.
Fair enough.
There, now chat can see it. This is the SCP's name.
Oh man, I love the name Tiag. Wait. Who? No! No! No!
Tiagdict Ayan.
The RB getting abducted by the tentacle monster.
Yeah.
I am assuming he is not taking me because
Yeah, this was
You got cut out. What did you say?
I was making a joke in that I assume he's not taking tree snakes.
yeah, this is his Fey name from the Fey canon. I'm not sure if his name is different in other canons. Just this is his Fey name.
So this might not be his name, but it might be his name.
Right.
I'm gonna call him Paul. His name's Paul now. Good luck to all the other Pauls in the world.
Should I call him Bob?
Yeah, that's how we'll confuse him. We all give him a different name. He's Paul to me. He's Bob to Jerry Bright. What name do you give him?
Rick Sanchez.
I expected you to say something like penis or something. Rick Sanchez. Yeah, okay, sure. Anyway, let's listen to the rest of this story about Paul Bob Rick Sanchez.
Yeah.
Late 19th century. However, the references to the people in orange jumpsuits and the Foundation contradict its timestamp.
Wait, back up.
Another
Back
interesting.
Play that again. What information was there? Back further. As in, like, just like press the arrow key. Okay, play again.
However, the references to the people in
Okay,
orange
further back,
jumpsuits,
further back.
18th century. However, the references when they recorded it. The video appears to be dated to the late 19th century. However, the references to the people in
19th
orange
century.
jumpsuits and
Yeah, the 19th century would be before the 20th century. Let me look up the years counting at the 19th century, but I do not believe VHS tape existed back then.
They most certainly did not. So it's a VHS tape from the 1800s.
Oh, yeah, the 19th century is from January 1st of 1801 to December 31st of 1900. Yeah, VHS players did not exist back then. In fact, I do not think music playing devices existed yet. Let me look it up.
I think there were.
I mean,
feel like the
recorded type, not like music boxes or anything.
Oh yeah, but I
Yeah.
feel like gramophones were invented in that century.
Yeah.
I'll look that up now.
Yeah. Fun facts with Jerry.
It was invented in November 8th of 1887, so you were right. The gramophone
Yeah.
was invented within the 19th century.
Yeah.
I
My
will say
brain's
I
smart.
do like the gramophone because because it had a lot of old music that was recorded on it, and not all of it was successfully transferred or saved over the years, especially with how much music was destroyed during World War II. There's a lot of
Oh yeah.
music in old movies destroyed by a certain party. And that art is amazing, which makes
And
me just always wonder about all the music the gramophone had on it saved.
Yeah,
as-
that's
along
oh, go ahead.
alongside said fascists, it's also always important to mention that the other major factor in the creation of lost media is capitalism. Almost what is it, like 80 to 90%? I think I saw the statistic.
Mm-hmm.
80 to 90% of all silent films are lost media
Oh yeah.
because they were literally just thrown out because they weren't making money anymore. Because why
Well,
preserve this stuff when you could
it,
just
it wasn't
keep...
even because it wasn't making money anymore. The next thing, so it was less
Yeah, yeah, that's a
about
better
the
way.
money and more like they wanted to move on. But there were a lot of people who actually wanted to save those movies and keep watching it. It just wasn't theirs. That's why so
Yeah.
many of those movies were destroyed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um.
They weren't legally allowed to keep those movies when the owners were basically telling them to destroy it.
Yeah. That's actually one thing I've realized now since you told me that, because I was not. I knew I know that party destroyed art and stuff. I didn't know they destroyed that much. So I was taught that much. But that means that's the second time in history that I know of where a group destroyed large amounts of knowledge or arts.
Also,
Because I believe the library in Greece was destroyed from Rome. I forgot its fucking name.
Library of Alexandria, however,
Yeah.
most of the stuff in the Library of Alexandria was just copies of other texts from elsewhere.
Uh,
there was
So,
also a very enormous library in ancient Egypt that was destroyed by, I believe it was by accident, not by war,
yeah.
and it was lost in a fire slash it sunk under the ocean. There are artifacts still
damn!
in that area from that library and the city it was in, but obviously all written texts are completely gone.
Yeah.
Texts do not exactly, paper does not exactly survive well in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Especially not in warm, commonly flowing Mediterranean Ocean.
Yeah, so all documents of that library, apparently a very amazing library at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in when old movies came out in the black and white non-talking films era, typically how the movies came out were after the movies were released, and the theaters would show the movies, but it was more like they were renting the movies. And they would go to the
Mm-hmm.
next theater and the next theater and the next theater. And when the last theater would get it and they're like, what do we do with this? They were told to get rid of it, to destroy it. So they would have to do that because they were once again renting it, they did not own it.
Yeah. Anyways, let's finish this SCP.
And I think it needs to be said that the main reason why that was the case is because of copyright law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
fun fact: one of the places a lot of those movies ended in accidentally preserved the movie. How they got some of the movies with how they got rid of it, which was basically burying.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just like a fun fact that I learned from talking with Robin because they like are really hyper fixated on like that general time period is the fact that like popular media tends to hype up the burning of the Library of Alexandria as like this massive loss of knowledge when almost everything in it was copies from other tech that could have been found elsewhere.
Meanwhile,
Right.
there are other burnings that were not hyped up
Yeah,
that probably had information that is irreplaceable. Like there's a
yeah,
lot of information from ancient Egypt that we still do not have the exact information on anymore.
Mm-hmm.
One of and we cannot exactly remove that city that fell into the ocean from the ocean and magically that is
yeah,
definitely long gone. That is
Yeah.
yeah,
not coming back.
yeah. Like, make no mistake, obviously the purposeful burning of a library is a bad thing, but it's just it it's hyping up the wrong library to focus on the burning us, basically.
Yeah.
Also, I will say in some cases, some things still exist, but because it's in private hands rather than in
Oh yeah.
a historical place, there's no way to experience it. One of the things that bothers me that's in private hands rather than any museum is the last queen of Hawaii. She had records of her music created, and some of those still exist. They're incredibly valuable and rare, and you can hear like maybe one or two of those songs online, but that's it, and you're not going to hear the rest of them because the only copies are in private hands that I know of.
Yay,
My
colonizationism.
oh, colonizationism.
You know what? That's fair. It is technically colonization. It's like
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
the descendants of British people who had invaded Hawaii had tricked her brother, and by the time he realized how deep into the stuff he was in, it was too late, and they well, anyway, she tried to undo the damage
Yeah.
too late, and she tried to ask for the United States help, and they basically treated them how many people treated less than white people back then. And
Yeah.
they literally stole Hawaii because, yeah, America.
America. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let I think you need to mark bad history for a multitude of reasons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They
Alright.
don't know what the 19th century is. They basically do not know when they do not know anything about any part of history. Let's just press play.
Yeah.
The foundation contradict its timestamp. Another interesting feature is that in the video, SCP-2521 is depicted as sympathetic. Its own origin is a mystery even to itself, not knowing what it is, what its real name is, or where it came from, which saddens the
We
creature.
don't know that.
It
We
is
don't
not
know.
evil, but just wants to know about itself, and that is why it steals documents and people who describe it, in order to find information about itself.
Right, I just
We don't know
realized they did
that.
contradiction. Because they in the previous story they said what it was.
They literally admitted like a few minutes ago to that their information contradicts itself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
Like this is the problem. Like we said earlier, this is the problem when you try to mash multiple tales together as if they create a cohesive narrative.
when when they don't, the point isn't to make a cohesive narrative. It's a bunch of pieces from a bunch of parallel universes, and you don't know which ones are the not accurate.
Yeah.
That's the point, and it's
Speaking of
interesting.
speaking of historicity, this is why there's a serious problem with trying to develop a constant through line from a conglomeration of a shit ton of different authors at many different places in time. You know, there's a problem with trying to draw a through line through stuff like that. Wink, wink, the Bible. When there's over 40 different authors, from you know all over the place in the Mediterranean world, in the Middle East. There's gonna be a little bit of a snag trying to act like there's a cohesive through line, like with Tolkien's Legendarium or something.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't help when they like bring stories in later and remove stories out.
Yeah.
They can't even decide which ones they want Jesus to be in.
Yeah.
I just realized tonight we're taking a lot of jabs at like really dumb Christian ideas.
And I don't care.
Yeah. I think that's just been on my for me personally, that's just been on my mind because my therapist and I were talking about that a lot in our
The way
in our
I see it,
appointment.
we're not taking jabs at bad Christian ideas, but bad historical.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
some of it is Christian in context, but it's not all Christian.
well, yeah, but like my main thought was like talking about earlier with the creationism
Right.
as well.
Fair.
All right.
But
Let's
anyway.
continue.
However, Foundation personnel do not know whether this description of SCP-2521 is reliable or not. O5 level members recommend that Foundation staff still remain wary whenever they are in the creature's presence. 2 experiments have been made for SCP-2521 so far,
What?
due to the rarity of its encounters and appearances. In the experiment 2521-A, a D-class member was placed inside a room alone. He was told to look at a chart and images describing SCP-2521 before writing it in text form. After
Why
the
is there a
D-class
bunch of
personnel
text
finished
there?
writing,
Huh?
Because they cannot imagine it as pictures. No, you're.
They just keep using the same text document that they showed early on as just like, hey, look at these text look at all these images. These images describe it, and he has to write it down. But they just put the the, the fucking text document they've been showing multiple times among the
Yeah.
images. They can't even be fucked.
No, they cannot.
Literally, at this point, it'd be better to just like it poorly Photoshop in the pictures from the article. I'd be less annoyed with that.
Yeah. They're not going to.
Well, of course they're not going to do that.
SCP-2521 appeared in the room and showed fondness towards the image of itself.
Oh,
then-
wait. Oh my god. No, I don't like that.
What?
Back. Look at the writing.
Ah! Oh! I've been shot.
Fully laziness, Batman. You know
I'm
what they could have
bleeding out.
done to avoid that entire. They could have changed the text in the art as a. Goddamn, I forgot what that's called. I feel like this has been so stupid that my brain fried for a moment. But basically, almost every art program that has different layers has something called. That is not what I meant to open. No, not called that, but something called clipping or something similar to that in name. But it's literally when you save, you can change any file to it, but basically the purpose of it is
Yeah.
you see like that picture document.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that would be its own file.
Ah.
If it's clipped onto that, that means anything that's poking out of that would vanish because it can only be visible on that object.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have still been as lazy as they entire time.
Yep.
I'm getting an eye twitch.
I'm sorry.
It then took away the text version of it. Scared, the D-Class personnel had to agree to let it do so, and SCP-2521 left, leaving the D-Class personnel terrified and traumatized. The second experiment was made under the same circumstances. However, this time, the D-Class personnel was told to describe the images in an oral verbal form. After describing it, SCP-2521 manifested,
Yeah.
expressing what seemed
So
to be
that's
affection
basically a
towards the D.
verbal.
I love fucking what is it when you say the same thing twice?
I don't know.
It's not an oxymoron.
Oh wait, I just realized we can put wrong anatomy for the SCP as well, because it used wrong anatomy if we want to.
Oh, you're right.
Because he has no arms.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Where do they put his arms?
I would normally want to restrict wrong anatomy to
Humans.
actual humans, but in this case, this is a humanoid figure that should have arms that doesn't have arms. Also, hey, not Cheery. Hey, Aderna.
Darren is the new Jiri.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Congratulations, Aderna. You have been.
Aderna's the dragon, I am Snake, respectively.
Congratulations, Aderna. You have been turned into Snake. How do you feel?
Well, if you
Eh?
if you think about it, a dragon's just a snake with legs and wings.
I will fight you. I will fight the hell out of you.
And when you think about it, a snake's just a dragon sans the
Yeah.
wings and
You
the
want me to
legs.
fight you too?
You can't catch me.
Oh my god.
You're a
God
saltwater.
will not help you here.
You're a saltwater snake. I'm swimming in the rivers. Fuck you.
Okay, to put you a brief description of Derna, what they did was 2521, which is basically you can't, speak of it through words and stuff. It has to be through pictures. That SCP. Yeah, they combined two stories that are not connected to each other, because one is he's a fae that's locked in a cage, and basically whoever goes inside becomes the new 2521, and he's free. And the other one where basically he's wandering some other dimension, I believe.
Yeah, and they don't know what he is. He
Yeah.
doesn't know what he is.
Yeah, they combined two of them
Oh.
saying that's his story. They combined
Oh
those
my
two.
god.
Yeah.
And they
You
said
know
it-
how- Yeah.
And they said that a VHS was dated to the 1800s.
Yeah.
No, 1900s.
Well, 19th century.
Yeah,
19th century, sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
so 1800s.
Mhm.
Late 1800s.
I think that's just a mistake on their part. They don't understand fucking.
Well, it doesn't
Sim-
take much work to figure it out. It would have had to be because after 2001 or something like that, it became the 21st century, meaning the 1990s, 1980s, et cetera, were all in the 20th century, not the 19th century.
And also, there's also 20th Century Fox.
Yeah. Anyways, let's finish this. We only a few seconds left.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving them I was just saying they're uneducated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was saying to counter that it's not about education, lack of education. They're just being idiots.
It could be
Because
both.
even a child can do the basic guess.
Well, meh. If children haven't weren't given that weren't introduced to centuries and stuff like that, they might not be able to get it.
This could
So
Just
a
depending.
kid that hasn't gone into first grade yet,
actually prove more of my theory into this channel, because like I stated before on an earlier video, basically, that they could be like Detective Void and they're a company in another country that might not be as well taught. I want to choose my words carefully.
Well, the thing is, like in other countries, they'll
Yeah.
probably teach them about this too.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like they're it's not like there kind of thing or something like that where
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's not something like about like the language that they might get messed up on. It's something about like
Yeah.
history and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which actually like a lot of other countries do better at teaching people history than the U.S.
A lot better.
Mm-hmm.
In
So
fact,
that's not an
most
excuse.
countries do better,
Mhm.
including the different Asian countries that typically do make video content like this that is quite lazy. So it's not that they don't know the information, it's that they're actively being lazy on purpose.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and finish this.
Go ahead.
class member before taking them into its arms or ribbon-like body. Both the member and the creature disappear.
What's that term in hentai, that like body vor?
Oh,
It's just
so
sucked
so
into the body.
so this is
Oh, sorry.
so this is Chew's wheelhouse here.
I
We're
feel
stepping
like
into
that's
Chew's
less
wheelhouse.
vor and more extreme bondage because he was
Yeah.
wrapped in a way where it looked like he'd eventually be released, and that definitely looked like bondage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just
I mean, it's inevitable for something that's void to eventually be released as well.
Oh, darn, I almost forgot. The only time a black man was shown in this video was after a statement where, in the story where he's trying to figure out what he is, it says that he's a big, giant, black, scary monster with sharp teeth, and then they remember this man running away from him, and it's the only black man in the video.
Okay, so they're
the
definitely
only-
getting like a 4 on the racism thing.
It's like literally the only black man is a guy that's running away from it.
also the only time any women video
Uh,
on twice as bad as
You got
the
cut
man.
out.
Yeah, you got cut out horribly.
Oh, thanks, Discord.
Yeah, once you said women, like you got cut out. I think Discord hates women.
This were just when women.
Okay, who hates women more? SCP Exposed or Discord? Anyway, the only time they showed any women in twice as bad as any of the white men that popped up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking, right? Since the video's almost over, you like briefly show that for like a second, right?
I don't think I care enough personally.
Yeah. Anyways, let's just.
Heck.
Alright.
Yeah,
The
let's
wall
just
of the
finish.
room.
Yeah.
The member is yet to be found. They are presumed.
Yat? Wait. He said yat?
Yes.
Yet.
He said yat to be found.
Yeah.
It was probably just an accent thing.
Mhm.
His true accent is showing through his. Oh my god. I don't.
Billy Ackerman.
Wait, is that like was he a D class or not a D
Wait.
class? Because D class are typically criminals, and that's talking like it's some sort of like
Volunteer.
yeah, like a volunteer, like, and he encountered many SCP before coming to our foundation. He has a lot of experience. Like, is this his portfolio? Is he a worker there?
Wait.
Well, you see, they've very consistently shown they don't know how D class works.
Wait.
Also, by the way, they've used this name before. On another. Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
I
So
remember.
it's just a copy of him.
Wait, here, I want to say, isn't Ackerman, like, a last name from someone in Attack on Titan?
Yes, it's
Ackerman is a common last name. Probably just using it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's like a common last name typically in Europe.
Yeah, which hence why it was used in Attack on Titan, because Isayama was specifically trying to set that world in
In like
basically
Germany.
like a very early Renaissance Germany setting.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Mhm.
that's the last name of Mikasa, Levi, and
Wait,
Kenny.
does that make... Okay. Wait, does that make... Does that... I forgot his name. I'll just say the protagonist, but he's not... He is the protagonist, but he's not a good guy.
Yeah, Aaron Yeager.
Yeah, so that doesn't that make him well, actually, no, it wouldn't.
Yeah, no.
Wouldn't necessarily.
Right.
Because, like...
Oh,
Mikasa's an adopted... was
Right.
adopted by Aaron's family after...
Oh, no, I wasn't saying about that.
Oh.
I was gonna make a joke that doesn't that make him a 1930s bad guy? Yeah, but then I was like, they've had like other like they have had other like other like time periods where they've like done genocides in Germany, so
Yeah.
Anyways,
Not
So
just in Germany.
I mean,
well,
either
we're
way.
specifically about Germany because they were placing that in Germany, so that's why I was
Well,
talking about
inspired by
that.
Germany, yeah.
yeah.
It's, I mean, yeah, like it's very obvious that in every practical sense of the word, Aaron is a fascist by the end of the story, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep, let's finish this.
To be dead. So, what did you think of that SCP case?
Wait,
I think I want to drop kick you down a river.
by the first story they did, they confirmed that he wouldn't die. He would just be put in a cage. So now they contradicted it again.
Well, actually, they mangled the first story so much that I don't think it comes to that conclusion. The idea of the first story was that he was in the cage, and then that guy that they sent in through the door itself was put in the cage.
Well,
so now the
but
SCP is free.
he sent the SCP Foundation a letter saying he's not dead, but he can't come back.
Yeah. Alright, anyways,
So
removal of character / license.
License is good. Characters, there's not many characters to remove. It's just they just mangled the only prime character.
I feel like
So,
that still needs to get like a 3 because they mangled literally every character
Yeah, I can see that.
itself. The only thing they didn't mangle is license.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Discord's really fucking with you, Jerry.
Yeah, you might want to exit and rejoin.
Okay.
Discord hates gaming.
There's the snake.
What?
I was saying it. No, whatever.
Sorry, the only thing I heard when I re-entered was the snake.
Yeah, I said there's the snake.
It's because like as soon as you came in, like Hatch, like you cut out on theirs.
So I would lean more towards 2 because like they mangled the main character, but the main character is still present. But if you want to do 3, I'm not gonna argue.
The way I see it, part of keeping a character is to keep the character intact, but they mangled it so much that do they even know what the character do we even know what the character is supposed to be in the story? Do we even know what personality it's supposed to have, what history? I feel like they combined so many versions of that character, it's not a character at
Yeah.
all. It's some weird amalgamation.
Mm,
I mean, it's good to make your own version of that SCP for the story since it's such a mystery. That's fine, but they literally mashed a bunch of those into its own weird contradictory thing. He basically has no
yeah,
personality at that
Yeah.
point.
yes, fair enough. Like I said, I'm not gonna argue on it.
Fair.
I
Fair.
can't be asked right now.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go with 3 with that one. Added gore or violence?
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 0 weirdly.
There's there's no extra gore, and everything that was depicted is stuff that the SCP just normally would do. So yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
a 0.
Yeah. Deviates from the plot of the article.
I
4.
is there anything to say here?
Yeah, I think we all know the answer.
And then the last one, a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the 0 on added gore or violence really matter when they got 3, 3, 4, 4 after?
I think personally I would be more inclined to put like the offensiveness towards like 2 or 3. But meh.
Well, I don't know. The only time they had anyone remotely not white, they showed it or spoke of it in a very racist tone.
I mean, yeah, but like what I'm thinking of is that this is the sort of underlying uh, like
Mm,
biases rather than like
Well,
overtly trying to be
that's so
racist.
that's so racist though.
I'm
So
not saying it's not racist. I'm not saying it should be 0. I'm saying like if we were to put like bigotries on a scale of how severe they are, I would generally put like underlying biases lower than like aggressively overt bigotry.
well,
Gotcha.
underlying biases can actually be a little bit more
yeah,
harmful
like
though.
let's
Uh,
take my life for example. No one directly pointed at me and said, "Ha ha ha, you're not white enough." But I was definitely made to know that while growing up quite a few times.
yeah, fair enough.
Alright. So, here's the thing. I'm gonna do with this channel, because they do have, I believe, 2 that are part 1 and part 2.
Mhm.
So we're gonna read an article, then watch part 1, rank it, then we'll watch part 2, then rank that one. That's what we're
Yes,
gonna do.
do that.
Yeah. And plus, there's only like 2 SCPs between the 2 parts, so it's not like we're going, too far ahead to the parts.
To be fair, we had skipped more when we did the Brides of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get its nickname. Who'd like to read 1861?
Isn't that when the Civil War started?
I could do it. I know it's not actually about the Civil War, but that just brightened me up for some reason.
I mean, that's fair. Wasn't your one of your father's interests the Civil War? Am I remembering correctly?
No, one of my dads, my blood dad, was a historian as it comes to the Wild West, which
Oh, right.
does connect slightly to the Civil War, but is not really directly connected to the
Yeah.
Civil War.
Well,
Yeah.
because the Wild West came as a
Yeah, during that time frame, that was around like after the Civil War to a degree.
and it came as like it
It
was
definitely
affected by the
affected
Civil War.
how people acted, yeah, and other stuff. Anyway,
Alright, I
had
got
a
his nickname. Its nickname is the crew of the HMS Wintersheimer.
Yeah, it's a really good SCP. I can't wait to watch them fuck it up.
Oh, god damn it. Item number SCP-1861, Object Class Keter, Special Containment Procedures. If a manifestation of 1861 is reported, task force agents from the nearest Foundation outpost are to reroute traffic away from the affected area and prevent civilian interaction with SCP-1861-B instances. A separate team must be deployed with the specific task of locating and preventing access to 1861-A. As SCP-1861-B instances cannot be destroyed with brute force, diplomatic means of preventing civilian abduction should be undertaken if at all possible. Foundation misinformation agents positioned in local news sources and weather monitoring sites are to attribute 1861 to irregularities in air pressure and large quantities of dust presence in stormwater. Civilians who enter SCP-1861-A are to be declared legally dead with causes of death attributed to common inclement weather accidents. Description: 1861 is an anomalous meteorological
Meteorological?
yeah, I'm trying to say that. Meteorol Everyone heard what Adurna said. We are moving on. Phenomenon characterized by heavy precipitation and
Yeah, you got it
fog
right.
composed of salt water, human blood, and human
Cerebrospinal.
yeah, cerebr- cerebr- cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, just needed to slow down there. SCP-1861 manifestations are unpredictable, appearing spontaneously and with no regard to an affected area's natural climate and weather patterns. Manifestations typically occur once every 3 to 6 months and have been recorded occurring in numerous regions across the world. Historical records have confirmed that SCP-1861 has existed since as early as the year 1916. Well, submarines did exist back then anyway. The size of the area covered by 1861 varies from instance to instance, with the largest recorded affected area measuring approximately 5 kilometers. Oh,
That's weird.
yeah, that's a big. That's big. Does everyone know what a kilometer is?
Bigger than a mile.
Kilometer, yeah.
It's
what
not.
I-
It's smaller than a mile. But
It's a little bit smaller than a mile. That would be 3
Ow.
miles. So that's three miles squared.
Oh, I thought mile was smaller. Whoops.
No.
right. If I'm guessing what you did there with your brain is you see the same
So-
the same distance put in both measurements, and there's more in the kilometers. That's because the kilometers are smaller than the miles.
Well, I will say 5 kilometers are around 3 miles. So 3 miles squared, I think that would be around
Well, affected area, that would be that's the area measurement. So I'm pretty sure that's, so it's 3 miles squared, so it's the entire area is 3 miles.
yeah. It's more, I think 3 miles squared would be more like from the center of the area, it would be 3 miles. Meaning the entire radius would probably be closer to like 9 miles or something.
No, so that would be like if it did so if it did radius, that would be it would just be like 5 kilometers. If it said the radius would be 5 kilometers. The affected area measuring approximately 5 kilometers squared. 5 kilometers is the, so like if we were talking about like a circle, it would be the circumference of the circle.
Okay.
Sorry, my math nerd came out.
So 5 kilometers squared would be like, ignore the squared part. It's just like 5 kilometers total.
Yeah, the squared part is like pretty much there to like tell you the squared part is pretty much there to tell you what the it's it's on the squared part's on the kilometers, it's not on the like 5 part. So if that makes sense. So like it's there to like give a kind of a description of what this uh
Mhm.
what this number is like talking about. So
Yeah, anyways, back to the SCP.
sorry if it doesn't make sense. Trying to I'm trying to get the words.
You're
So
fine.
It's okay. You probably described it or you definitely sound like you understand it better than we do, so. Aside from its manifestation, composition, and apparent connection to SCP-1861-A, 1861 displays no additional extra extra normal properties. 1861-A is a single underwater marine vessel that closely resembles B-class boats used by the British Royal Navy in World War I. During each SCP-1861 manifestation, SCP-1861-A will attempt to surface in a body of water that is large enough to contain its full mass. Both natural and man-made bodies of water have hosted manifestations of 1861-A. If no body of water large enough to contain the entirety of 1861-A is present, SCP-1861-A will surface in any collection of water with a surface area large enough to encompass its conning water and topmost platform, even if the connection of water in question is only several inches deep. So, for it to appear, it only needs an area wide enough with liquid. It doesn't need to be deep enough.
Hmm.
SCP-1861-B are humanoid entities that emerged from 1861-A during 1861 phenomenon. SCP-1861-B are dressed in full body suits resembling deep-sea diving gear, although with no discernible source of air supply. All right. Just so everyone knows, the full body suits it's talking about are the ones you'd probably see in old Scooby-Doo cartoons. Those are the sort of ones that were used during World War One.
Or in a SpongeBob
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. So that's the sort of suits they'd be using. I know the suits have gone through very vast amounts of transformation over the years, so that's just a good way to reference it. Instances of SCP-1861-B are uniform in size and possess speed and strength typical of an adult human male. Although most instances are sapient and capable of speech, approximately 9% possess limited intelligence and are only sentient. Instances that are capable of verbal communication have been recorded, making vocalizations similar to the cries of domestic felines, canines, and infant humans. Does that mean at some point they've convinced cats, dogs, and never mind. The diving gear worn by SCP-1861-B instances is anomalously durable and cannot be removed except by the instance presently wearing it. If an instance of 1861-B encounters a human subject, it will attempt to persuade the subject into entering SCP-1861-A, claiming that the action would be in the subject's best interest. Subjects who refuse may or may not be forcefully taken to SCP-1861-A, depending on the temperament of the SCP-1861-B instance. Human subjects lured into entering 1861-A will re-emerge during the subsequent 1861 manifestations as SCP-1861-B instances. If an SCP-1861-B instance is taken outside SCP-1861's area of effect, it will begin to experience accelerated fatigue and lose consciousness, becoming completely inert until reintroduced to SCP-1861. Basically, you will lose consciousness and stop existing as anything but, like, not alive until near the boat again. Not boat, but sorry, submarine. After a manifestation of 1861 has ended, 1861-A will disappear along with any remaining instances of 1861-B. A similar phenomenon has been observed in 33,000 or 3,300, but no causal links have been found. Additionally, blood, cerebral spinal fluid, and salt water left behind in 1861 will instantly convert to regular rainwater. Man, that must make data processing a pain in the ass for that.
Yeah.
Interviewed. Oh, yeah, interview log document 1861-1. Interviewed an instance of 1861-B claiming to be a member of the ship's crew. Interviewer D Class 1861-36, receiving questions from Dr. Clutch via remote broadcast. Forward. D Class 1861-36 was sent into an SCP-1861 affected area and instructed to interview an SCP-1861-B instance. Heavy rain can be heard throughout the interview, and 1861-B's speech is muffled by the diving gear it's wearing. Begin log. D-Class, who are you? SCP-1861-B. Samuel Ramsey of HMS Wintersheimer. We're evacuating the area. Please, you've got to come with me. You're in danger out here. D-Class, what's going on? B instance. I don't have any way to prove this, but I can tell you right now you're going to die very soon unless you come with me. And that's not a threat, it's a warning. Something really, really terrible is about to happen here. D-Class. What? What's going to happen? B instance. Listen, you've got to trust me on this. When this rain stops, you're going to die. I'm not kidding. You're going to die unless you follow me back to our submarine. You'll be safe there. D-Class. Just tell me what's going to happen after the rain stops. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me. Look, I know this is going to sound insane, but this isn't regular rain. It's not from this world. There's another world, a horrible world, and it's leaking into this one. Don't look at me like that. You can see for yourself that this isn't normal rain. It's thick, it's red. Please, you have to trust me. I'm begging here. I'm trying to save your life. I've seen what happens to people after the rain, and I'm trying to save you from that. Just come with me, and I swear we'll both survive this. What kind of world is this? How long has this been happening? Listen, I want to help you, I swear I do. But if you won't believe me, I have no choice but to go look for someone else who will come with me. I'm truly, truly sorry, but I can't just stand here arguing with you when there are other people there I could be trying to save. And log. Sorry, I kind of forgot to give them voices at first.
You're
Yeah,
good.
not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Interview log, document 1861 2. Interviewed. An instance of SCP 1861 B claiming to be D. D class 1861 46. Interviewer 1861 45. Receiving questions from Dr. Clutch via remote broadcast. Forward 18 D class 1861 and D class 1840. D class 1861 45 and D class 1861 46. Adult males, roughly in their 30s years of age, had both been sent to previous manifestations of 1861. During this time, D45 was instructed to avoid contact with uh, the B instances, and D46 was instructed to enter 1861 A. Heavy rain can be heard throughout the interview, and the B class instance speech is muffled by the diving gear it's wearing.
Want me to read for the B class?
Yes,
Or the
please.
yeah, like for the dash B, I mean.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, I shall.
How do I know you're really Sal?
I can tell you that the code is Boyardi. Is that proof enough?
It proves you got his memories at least. So it happened after you went inside that sub.
Well, the inside of the sub is pretty much just one long, narrow passageway. The thing was full of these diving suit people, along with a bunch of random folks from around town. It was jam packed in there. You could barely move. It kept getting pushed further and further back as more people entered. The deeper I got, the more certain I was that I'd hit a wall at the end, but is like that passageways just keeps stretching on forever. About an hour after I first entered, people still stopped coming in and the hatch was closed. Then, without any warning, the sub started filling up with water.
Wait, they tried to drown you?
I don't know, man. The water just kept rising higher and higher, and people were screaming and panicking and knocking each other over. It was awful. The guys in the diving suits tried to keep everyone calm, explaining it was part of the safety procedures. They gave out diving suits to the rest of us and ordered us to put them on, so we did. I mean, what choice did we have? People people who'd brought their kids and pets were cramming them into the suits just to keep them from drowning to death.
Makes sense. I guess you were all trapped down there for a whole another 6 months until the next blood rain thing happened.
Actually, we didn't have to wait very long at all. That's where things started getting real weird. Once everyone had the diving suits on, they opened the airlock and started letting people leave the sub.
What?
Yeah, we were told not to take the suits off yet, though. They told us that when we got out of the sub, we wouldn't be able to breathe without our suits, and that everyone was left behind on the land would be dead. When I stepped out onto the surface, everything looked almost exactly like it had an hour ago. I saw the lake and the trees, the bathhouses. Everything was there where it had been, but
What? Had something changed?
it's uh it's hard to explain. I want to say that it was like everything was underwater, but it was more than that. It was like everything around us was part of the water itself. When you looked up, you didn't see a surface. It just went on forever. And the trees, the bathhouses, they weren't solid. They were just a different sort of liquid. Even when you stood on the ground, it was just kind of like you were swimming in it, because the ground was liquid. Except you didn't actually have to swim. And even though everything was water, you could still tell that there was a lake there, as if the lake was a pure form of liquidness. Sorry, am I making any sense at all here?
Not a whole lot, no. Hey, Dr. Clutch wants me to know how long you guys were out there like that.
The whole 6 months, we lived like that day and night.
Did anyone try taking their suits off?
Of course, especially at first, since everyone was confused and scared, but as soon as someone took their helmet off, their bodies sort of, I think dissolve would be the best word for it. They weren't solid anymore. They kind of turned into a mist and merged with the water that was all around us. They lost their shape, but you could still tell they were there, shapeless and floating.
How'd you guys eat?
We didn't sleep either. We just breathed, passing the time by exploring and talking to each other.
Did you see any animals or other people?
Kinda. We'd see their bodies. They'd float 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and their hair and fur would move like it does when it's underwater, but they always kept their position. Didn't drift anywhere or anything like that. It's really, really weird over there, man. And all the dead things, humans and animals, were missing their eyes. Blood would just keep pumping nonstop from the sockets, and they dissipate into the water around them, and their teeth. I can't just say their teeth were gone because that doesn't begin to cover it. It's like someone took a bite out of their face, right where the mouth should be. Teeth, lips, gums, all gone.
And no explanation from anyone? What did the guys who had led you into the sub have to say about all this?
A lot of them said that they had the same story as we did. The blood rain came, then someone in a suit told them to climb into the sub. Then oh sorry, it's been a while since I slept down there. Oh the suit told them to climb into the sub, then bam, Waterworld. There was this one guy, though, who said he was the original captain of the sub, Herschel Guthrie of the HMS Wintersheimer, was how he introduced himself. Anyway, the guy was a loony one. Rarely ever spoke coherently. If you asked him about the sub, he'd call it his art. If you asked him about the water place, he'd call it the New World.
What do you say about the people with missing eyes and teeth?
He just said the watcher of eyes and biter of teeth deemed them worthy, and crazy talk like that.
How'd you wind up back in the real world?
It was pretty sudden, actually. One day, a bunch of guys started yelling for everyone to make their way back to the submarine. Said that another area was getting attacked, and we need to rescue as many people as possible.
Alright, weird, another dimension, floating corpses, infinite submarine. Got all that, Dr. Clutch? Great. But now, why haven't you taken off that suit already, Sal? Sal?
I'm scared, man. I don't know what's real anymore. Hell, I can't say for sure if I'm even really alive. You have these diving suits that wander around, moving like people, but barking like dogs and talking like toddlers. We aren't what we used to be before we put on the suits. I'm sorry, man. I don't understand very much of this, but given what I know, I honestly don't think that we're human anymore.
Dr. Clutch says you've got to take off the suit for science and all that.
I'm just, I'm just so scared. If I'm not human, then am I? What am I? If I take this helmet off, what'll I see? Before, when we were in that storm together, the guys in the suits told us that we'd die as soon as the rain stopped. And you know what? During the time I spent in that water place, I found you. Teeth missing with eyes gone. I saw your dead body. I thought, maybe those guys were right. Maybe everyone else really is dead. Here you are in front of me. I don't get it. I don't know what's real, man.
Well, what else are you gonna do? Get back on the sub and live in SeaWorld the rest of your life? Who knows? Maybe it's too late to get back to normal. If I were you, I'd think death would be better than whatever kind of hell you're stuck in. Just take off the suit already.
Well, okay. Here goes.
End log. SCP-1861-B removed its helmet and large amounts of seawater began to pour from the suit. No body was found inside, but 2 human eyes and a set of teeth were recovered from within the diving suit. Testing performed on the remains revealed that the eyes originally belonged to an 8-year-old female and the teeth to a European red deer. Oh, geez.
Wow.
I remember this one giving me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it's still kind of creepy, but also really cool. And now I'm
Yeah.
gonna go pee. I really have to pee. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
Urination.
That's the thumbnail. Well, the first one.
What's
That's
pretty
I mean,
accurate.
Yeah. That's not really all that clickbaity.
Yeah, the second one's worse. I accidentally saw it and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Just post it.
Okay.
And the second one will be doing at a later time, you said?
We're gonna watch a second video
Right after, I think.
after we rank the first one.
Okay. And wait, how long were you planning to stream for?
We can probably just end it after the second 1861 if you guys want to.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, here's the second one. I'll show on stream when we get to it.
What the fuck?
Okay. I guess we can already give a. There's already a 2 for added gore and violence.
Well, that's for that video.
For that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like it's already up to a 2. And the thumbnail thing is at a 4. So.
Well, do we count the thumbnail into the
Nah.
added gore and violence
Not
rating?
really. No.
I would, but.
Yeah, like the first one is just like more accurate.
Well, like.
Second one, what
like
the fuck?
the thing. Well, it's the reason I was saying added gore is because it's not what the SCP thing does. So.
Well, yeah, like that's fair. It's just like when we're talking about added gore, it's like about stuff that's actually in the video, not the thumbnail. A lot of times the thumbnail's just like has a whole bunch of stuff that's never actually in the video.
Also, what the fuck is that word you tried to put in the DC?
Oh, that's SCP-2521's name in the Fae story. That's his. That's their Fae name.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the joke, Spood.
You're welcome.
Jerry, we posted basically both thumbnails for both videos. The first one's not bad. It's basically mainly lore accurate. Second one, what the shit?
The first one I would have to say is a 0. It's clickbait. The second one somehow ranks up to like a 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say solid 3 or 4. Like this.
It has to be a 4 simply because lore accurately, the suit wouldn't have any holes in it, otherwise they'd leak out of it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna show the thumbnail to stream. Yeah, this is the thumbnail we were looking at.
So 1861 is Spood is the SCP where everyone on the submarine or connected to the submarine who wears the suits from the submarine the submarine being designed after a British submarine during World War One, they all think the world is in underwater and they have to go save people by putting them in suits.
Mhm.
But if they take the suits off, they turn into water.
Yeah. Alright, are we ready to rank the first video?
Water and miscellaneous pair of eyeballs and teeth.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh boy, I love turning into deer teeth.
And it might be from like other creatures that were in the like that they brought into the sub, possibly.
That's
It does-
true.
Or
Wait,
the
does
people.
that mean that at some point one of them just grabbed a deer and shoved it into one of the suits?
Well, you can't decide what it counts as a pet. Someone might have had a pet deer, which is valid, but that makes for interesting, like
Mhm.
someone putting their pet deer in there.
My only question is like, is it a particularly small species of deer? How the fuck is it gonna fit in there?
We don't know. Alright, so they did keep the license.
That's good. Good for them.
We
Would
ready?
you like me to look up the sort of deer so you know how big it was?
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah.
Why not? It's connected to the SCP. Oh! Red deer are big!
Hmm.
So you have an idea of just, like, how big they are?
Oh,
It's basically Bambi's dad.
damn.
That is such a boopable snoot.
Yeah.
I want to boop that snoot.
They're basically definitely not tiny.
Yeah. Oh, so are we ready?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't start it yet because I just have to say again, that is such a good boy. Give them head pats. Give them snoot boops. They deserve it.
Yeah. And anyways, 3, 2, 1.
A figure emerged from the mist. D1861 45 was wary at first.
They're going all the way at the end of the article?
Wait,
Well, they tend to start out by like introducing something from later on.
okay, it would be funny if they actually went to the what they like used the wrong number.
Yeah.
That
You know what? As long as they do everything else fine, I wouldn't care.
Right. Alright. 3, 2, 1.
Who was this strange figure? Then he recognized it as one of the instances of SCP-1861-B. The instance was wearing the full bodysuit that all instances
What the fuck is that?
That is not how it
What?
looks.
What in the fuck?
what the hell is that? What is
Did they
this
fucking-
mangled gimp suit?
It looks like they Harley Quinnified it.
Oh, kinda.
Yeah.
You know what the suits look like. You put them in the thumbnail. How do you fuck it up this bad? Wrong SCP design. Moving on. Also, there's tubes that imply that it has a breathing supply. When it's not supposed to have that.
Alright, 3, 2, 1.
of SCP-1861-B wore, as well as a helmet like one of those deep-sea diving gears.
Who are you?
No.
D1861-45 asked.
Shut the fuck up.
The figure paused for a second, and then came a familiar voice.
Mike, it's me, Sal. Sal?
D1861-45 was confused.
Wait, he
Sal,
said sail?
Sal.
Wow.
No, he said sail, not Sal.
They said Sal. They just didn't say it very well. Which is the name of one of the D class.
Yeah.
Alright, let's keep going.
aka D1861-46, had been missing for over 6 months.
Is that really you? Yeah, it's me, Mike. This doesn't make any sense. Don't worry, you'll find out soon enough. Find out what?
D1861-45 didn't know what the SCP-1861-B instance was talking about.
The truth.
It replied, "Welcome back to SCP
What?
Exposed. Today we bring you
So,
Keter
as a
class
quick
objects."
side note,
That's not what happened. That's
As a
not
quick-
what happened.
as a quick side note, what immediately jumps out at me is that they are still depicting the rain as red. Does the rain normally show up as red for everyone or just the people in the suits?
For everyone.
Okay, I couldn't remember that. Then yeah, never mind.
It's because it has a mix of blood and, well, yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
Then it turns to normal after the submarine leaves.
Yeah.
Fucking nightmare mist.
Anyways,
Nightmare Mist.
Yeah.
Mist Mirror Night.
3, 2, 1.
Object SCP-1861.
Oh my
There are no
God.
containment procedures for SCP-1861 due to its teleportation abilities and sheer collective size. SCP-1861 is a meteorological phenomenon characterized by heavy precipitation and fog composed of saltwater, human blood, and human cerebrospinal fluid. SCP-1861 manifestations are unpredictable, appearing spontaneously and at random locations. Manifestations typically occur once every 3 to 6 months and have been recorded occurring in numerous regions across the world.
Wait,
Historical
hold up.
records
Did
have
we already get a tiny bit of diversity in there?
Wait, I just
That-
want to
that-
see something. They actually drew a map pretty decently.
Wait, holy shit! They traced the map instead of freehanding it.
I have to clap. It actually looks like a real map. I mean, it's not the best map, but it looks real.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
there's no North Pole. Antarctica's gone, but I mean,
And also,
like, otherwise
like,
it's-
also Europe is like shrunken.
yeah, but like it's recognizably a map of the Earth, which is a step up from before.
That is so nice.
But yeah, go back a bit further.
Probably right here.
Yeah, to that guy. Back a little further.
Right here?
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to tell.
No, I don't think. I
Yeah.
think that's supposed to be a white guy.
I think that's supposed to be a tan person with bleached hair.
Yeah, that was my
Yes.
first inclination.
So a white guy who's
Well,
tanned.
no, tan
Well-
doesn't mean they got a tan. It means it's a lighter shade of brown. Like a certain lightness.
Well, chalk this one up to a maybe they had representation.
Okay.
Anyways, in 3.
That's-
Oh, sorry.
It could be a white guy that likes tanning, could be a Mediterranean guy. Who knows? We'll see if they actually show more skin tones later on as well.
Alright.
Mhm.
Yeah, anyways.
Either way, a step up from the previous video.
Yeah. In 3, 2, 1.
Simultaneously and at random locations. Manifestations typically occur once every 3 to 6 months and have been recorded occurring in
Wait, hold on. How the fuck is the submarine appearing in the middle of Africa?
Because
Right.
there's water
Oh.
sources
there's
in
large
Africa.
bodies of water in Africa.
Oh.
That is sub-Saharan Africa. It's not in the middle of the Sahara.
Oh, okay.
Right? Are you under the impression that Africa, an entire continent, is nothing but Tatooine
No.
from Star Wars?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
numerous regions across the world. Historical records have confirmed that SCP-1861 has existed since as early as the year 1916. The size of the area covered by SCP-1861 varies from instance to instance, with the largest recorded affected area measuring approximately 5 kilometers square. If one were to compare an instance of SCP-1861 to the average weather phenomenon, one could say it is much like a hurricane or fog, except consisting of saltwater and human blood. SCP-1861-A is a single underwater marine vessel that closely resembles B-class boats used by the British Royal Navy in World War I.
Wait. Their drawing doesn't match this drawing.
So they did 2 drawings that were completely different.
Yeah.
Is at least one of the drawings similar to the Wintersheimer?
Let's see, do we actually have a picture of the Wintersheimer?
Yes.
It
Let's see.
shows. It has. So the second one is not. The
Yeah,
second one they put is not.
the first one was, the second one is not.
Okay.
Show me this first one again.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot closer. It's got like the actual tower on it
Yeah.
instead of just a nub. I mean, it also looks vaguely like a nightstick, but as a dildo. But I mean, whatever. When you think about it, a submarine really is just a waterproof dildo in the sea.
Oh my god. Well, like I was gonna say, or it could be like one of those like toy nightsticks that a kid might use.
Oh yeah.
Well,
And
like
it's
like a
it's
just a
it's just-
little plastic thing, like
yeah, and it's just for some reason studded for your pleasure.
for the pleasure
Anyway.
of like hitting people with little rubber things that.
The pleasure of simulated police brutality for children's playtime.
Anyways, in 3, 2, 1.
Boats used by the British Royal Navy in World War I. During each SCP-1861 manifestation, SCP-1861-A will attempt to surface in a body of water that is large enough to contain its full mass. Both natural and man-made bodies of water have hosted manifestations of SCP-1861-A, including a swimming pool, a waterfall, and a large puddle. If no body of water large enough to contain
A large puddle?
A large puddle. That wasn't it. It's just like I thought the depiction of it was funny.
Yeah,
Technically, they did say puddles could be included. They literally said that. So.
Well, like yeah. Also, the puddles most of the puddles, like unless they're like big enough, would probably only allow for the like the tower to show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a catfish.
Anyways.
In the entirety of SCP-1861-A is present, SCP-1861-A will surface in any collection of water with a surface area large enough to
A fucking kiddie pool. Oh my god.
It's lore accurate, but oh my gosh.
This is you know what? I'll genuinely give props for taking the time to just have a little fun with it. Depicting this thing coming out of some kid's backyard pool is fucking amazing. Just an inflatable pool.
Well, at least it didn't have it come out of things like a giant public pool.
Yeah.
A giant what pool?
Public pool.
It just
Well,
rises out of a public
show
pool
one of
while
them.
people are using it.
Man.
It did show it come out of like kind of like either a hotel pool or like a backyard pool.
Yeah.
Which isn't quite the same. A public pool is one that's not connected to a hotel, it's its own thing, and everyone in the neighborhood can go there.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in the neighborhood can go to the hotel pool. They just got to do it without being seen.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my gosh.
You can just hop the fence. It's not that hard.
That's called illegal.
Eh.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Okay, let's keep watching.
Oh, but if I go to work smelling like a fucking ashtray and covered in shit,
Oh my God.
people are gonna take issue with that. But I don't have a shower, so I go and jump in the local hotel pool to clean off. What am I supposed to do? Anyway, moving on.
To encompass its conning tower and topmost platform, even if the collection of water in question is only several inches deep. Eyewitnesses have also claimed to have seen SCP-1861-A emerge from a waterfall at
We, it's just a dick coming out of the earth. But, I was gonna say we have another bit of diversity. That fella definitely looked like he had a darker skin tone.
Wait, where?
Yeah,
So
back
the guy
before.
they just showed.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Eh.
Ignore that one of his eyes is a comma.
I don't. I feel like that was supposed to be a white guy, but they're trying to make him look old. So they just.
They do have a light brown skin tone. It's just not a darker brown or normal.
Why are we constantly judging the race of the characters?
Because every other, like, the majority of the other videos has literally nothing but the palest of pale white guys.
And the last video before this only had one black guy, and he was running from the SE.
Yeah, on like film grain black and white footage.
In the middle of a desert.
Yeah. Like we're scrutinizing it in this manner because we're actually noticing them at the very least slightly improving by dialing up the fucking melanin in these characters by like 5%.
Oh, they probably will just.
But I will say, although they have showed characters with tan skin so far, they have not shown any with brown or dark brown skin.
Yeah.
And they also haven't
shown any characters with a dark brown skin, let alone a normal brown skin. So
yeah, they also haven't shown any women. So
yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, anyways,
so they're more willing to show tan people than they are women.
Anyways, in 3, 2, 1.
1861-A emerged from a waterfall at a horizontal angle. It is uncertain how SCP-1861 and SCP-1861-A connect, although it is indisputable that they only appear at the same time. Another byproduct of SCP-1861 are the creatures or figures that emerge from the vessel that is SCP-1861-A. These figures have been classified as SCP-1861-.
Any of the pictures I linked, that is not how those suits are supposed to look. It's mostly how they're supposed to look, but those are not the faces they're supposed to have.
Yeah.
Again, like the face of the thing just reminds me of some like types of GIMP suits I've seen in BDSM art. Also,
although the helmet like closing lip area varies because back then it was a little harder to get things exact. It still did not look like that because it was always metal. It was always all metal when it comes to the helmet.
It looks like a fucking blow up doll made out of metal's face plastered onto like a fucking chainmail hood.
it actually reminds me of some like games like I've seen and stuff.
Mm,
Yeah.
gotcha. Alright.
Like, this could be a fun horror design if it
Yeah.
wasn't in relation to this SCP with a very specific design for the fucking guys in the old-timey suits.
Also, as you can tell, the hose was only one hose. Well, there were multiple hoses, but it didn't. They did not both come out of the back like they were braids. I shouldn't say it like that. And they were made of plastic, so they would not be probably not the same color as the suit's head.
Yeah.
Listen, they just really needed to give the divers ponytails.
Yeah, because the divers need to swirl those around.
Anyways, let's continue.
B, and are described as humanoid figures dressed in full bodysuits resembling deep-sea diving gear, although with no discernible source of air supply.
That is not how
Instant-
1930s divers.
No discernible source of air supply? What about those?
So if there's no discernible source of air supply, are those tubes just flopping there?
Yeah.
I guess that has to be what it is.
So they are just flopping there like ponytails.
Yeah. What are you trying to say, Jerry?
Technically, in suits that were made during the 1930s, they were designed like because the air was on the boat.
Yeah.
But they're not saying that.
Yeah. Anyways.
Also, it's very important that I announce you found a star drop. It's strange, but the taste reminds you of women. Anyway,
Oh my god.
What?
I'm playing Stardew, and the character I'm playing as, when I chose my favorite thing, I just put in women.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
SCP-1861-B possess the speed and strength typical of an adult human. Whenever humans have come into contact with these instances, they have been communicative and sound and act much like a human being. However, there have been a few cases where an unusual instance of SCP-1861-B has been encountered, whereby they seem to possess low intelligence and are merely sentient. Instances that are incapable of verbal communication have been recorded, making vocalizations similar to the cries of domestic felines, canines, and infant humans. The diving gear worn by SCP-1861-B instances is anomalously durable and cannot be removed except by the instance presently wearing it. If an instance of SCP-1861-B encounters a human subject, it will attempt to persuade the subject into entering SCP-1861-A, claiming that this action would be in the subject's best interest. Subjects who refuse
Random
may
thought.
or may not be forced.
Yeah.
Imagine having a B instance approach you, and then you start hearing deer sounds from it while it's waving its arms frantically at you.
It's like you walk up to you walk up to a guy. Hey man, I like your suit.
Oh, we didn't hear any of that. Those sounds.
Aw, damn. Aw, damn. Well, imagine elk calls. That's what I was trying to do.
Anyways.
Forcefully taken to SCP-1861-A, depending on the temperament
What?
of the SCP-1861-B instance.
Did they just kidnap him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
that
what
was mentioned
forcibly
as something-
means.
Yeah.
It was
That was-
mentioned as a possibility, but it was also said that only the more aggressive do that.
Yeah, and that's the part that we're at.
Alright. Gotcha.
Oh.
Alright.
Like they've been doing decent thus far.
Yeah.
They
In terms
have.
of descriptions, at least.
Yeah. And 3.
Kind of weird.
I have a
It is
feeling.
unsettled.
I have a feeling the second video is where it's gonna go to shit.
Well, how can you guess that? But it is very odd that we've gotten almost halfway through this and we've had barely any criticisms other than mocking the suit
Yeah.
and their general
but
lack of
the
diversity.
suit is generally inaccurate, but yeah.
Anyways, 3, 2, 1.
It is strongly advised by General O5LD that subjects do not enter
Ugh.
SCP-1861.
Ah,
Why?
General O5LD. Oh boy, I love it when we get orders from General 05 Long Dick. Doesn't everyone love General 05 Long Dick? He's my favorite general in the SCP army. Fuck my
It's
life.
making me imagine when you said this, making me remember the Thanos music. Got big dick and means he's got big balls. From the Bigfoot video.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just, bruh, why is he so insistent on mislabeling how that found it, how the fucking 05 council operates? Why is he so insistent on adding generals? What is
I
the
don't
purpose of
know.
the generals?
I
Hell,
don't
there's
know.
actually a timeline where an O5 member, in order to make sure their identity isn't known, they're a janitor. That's a thing.
Okay, that's cool. That's not a general.
Yeah. Well, like the thing is, if they were a general, they would be a lot. It would be a lot harder for them to keep their like identity a secret and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Because
literally
they would be.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say they literally take up jobs that would make them not look like they're 05.
That reminds me of the 05 from the Ouroboros cycle. That was
Yeah.
the American that had all that military American stuff.
Oh, yeah, and 682.
Yeah. I forgot which one that was, but it was one of the 05.
Yeah, and they got fucked up by 610.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're gonna say something, Adurna?
No.
Oh.
I was pretty much gonna say like as a general, they would have like a lot more like eyes on them
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
they would be like pretty much more the like government would be like more focused on watching them and stuff than
Yeah.
if they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was simply going to make the joke. You said that 05 member was fucked up by 610.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, thanks to the United States educational system, I was fucked up by 16.
Oh my god.
That is a good joke.
Yeah. Anyways, 3, 2, 1.
61-A. This is due to the occurrence of the event 1861-07,
What?
in which a missing member of a D-class unit, which was sent
Wait,
into
wait.
the SCP-186.
Wait, go back. What?
They just made up a random piece of history. They were doing so well, too.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever clarified what the event was called when D-Class was sent in.
I don't know, it was not clarified because
They were doing so well.
The only D class that was confirmed was not 07, it was 46, and they told that D class to go in.
Yeah.
Well, like 46, and then there was like 45 too. My
45 never went in, but they did tell 46 to take off their helmet, and
Right.
water came out, and eyeballs,
Mhm.
and a jaw of a deer.
Yeah. Alright, let's see how bad it gets now. So we're only halfway.
In which a missing member of a D-class unit, which was sent into the SCP-1861 occurrence, entered the vessel and returned later as an instance of SCP-1861-B. There seems to be a conversion state when humans enter the vessel, and so if you wish to maintain your sanity and consciousness, do not enter SCP-1861-A, no matter how convincing the instances of SCP-1861-B
That's
may.
not.
oh my god.
that's just
Grabbing water.
That's not why you don't enter it.
Yeah, that's literally...
you retain your sanity, you retain your sense of self.
Well, like he literally, like the SCP, the person who came out, like did keep their sanity.
Yeah.
I like how we immediately ate our words because it's like, oh, the only problem is the suit's so far. Then it goes to shit.
Like, yeah, this is passable. This is why does it insist on proving us wrong?
We were so happy too.
Yeah.
I guess once it hits the 5-minute mark, it's just like, we're gonna go to shit.
Yeah.
Okay, we got past the 5-minute mark. That means we're
You
going
know
off
what?
the script.
Instead of going to shit, they could have talked about the logs. Literally 2 logs of conversation.
Mhm.
Well,
And
I
also,
think
like,
I
also
think
this
they're-
this makes
Oh.
me think, what the fuck are they gonna do with the part 2 of this shit?
Oh,
I think they're basically building up to the logs, but they just start fucking up as they're building up to the logs.
anyways, 3,
Like
2,
they're setting up the logs.
yeah, and 3, 2, 1.
B. It is also noted that if an instance is taken outside SCP-1861's area of effect, it will begin to experience accelerated fatigue and lose consciousness, becoming completely inert until reintroduced into SCP-1861, almost resembling a fish out of water. After a manifestation of 1861 has
How do you
What?
feel as a fish, Hatchet, by that reference?
How do they describe it as a fish out of water when they literally stop moving in any way until it gets near them?
I want
Yeah,
Hatchet's
okay.
fish opinion.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So obviously, if you bring a fish out of the water for long enough, it eventually will just lay there dead. However, when you use the statement like a fish out of water, you're implying that something is vigorously jumping around and flopping around, trying to get back into the water and is lost. Not that it's just dead, seemingly dead, unconscious, bag of potatoes sitting on the side of the street. You take a salmon, you place it outside of the water, that motherfucker's gonna be bouncing all over the goddamn place. But no, we just have to misuse the fucking. We have to misuse the fish reference in front of the fish just to piss him off.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I
ended,
wish
the vessel will
I hope that whoever made this video has a very lovely time meeting the Paku.
Oh my god.
disappear along with any remaining instances of SCP-1861-B. Additionally, blood, cerebrospinal fluid, and salt water left behind by 1861 will instantly convert to regular rainwater. If there were no eyewitnesses, it could almost be as if SCP-1861 had never occurred. Only a storm had passed through, leaving behind the rainwater. If a manifestation of SCP-1861 is reported, task force agents from the nearest Foundation outpost are to reroute traffic away.
This is a more normal SCP outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, why is he holding the gun like that?
I don't know.
It's not the worst way to hold the gun if you're just being super casual. Don't know why it's not holding it by the foregrip that's on there, but
Right.
I mean, his hand could be clipping into the gun. Like, it could be worse. I could see someone who's trying to be really casual and calm, just not paying attention to how they're holding their gun and holding it like that.
You know what? That's fair. It's
Plus-
better than. Yeah.
And plus, he's demonstrating, like, at the very least, a little bit of learned gun safety knowledge because even while he's holding it awkwardly, the barrel is aimed down, and his finger is off the trigger, technically, because, well, he can't have his hands not even anywhere near the trigger, but his finger's off the trigger. So, like, he's doing a little bit of gun safety.
It would be funny if he was holding it like that, but the barrel was somehow turned toward his head.
He's just holding it upside down, like his thumb on the trigger with the barrel right at his fucking head.
Yeah.
This is definitely the best way to hold my fucking rifle.
Yeah.
But no, I assume that the SCP Foundation has a stricter gun safety regiment than the average American police station.
I would assume so, yeah.
Anyways, in 3, 2, 1.
Away from the affected area and prevent civilian interaction with SCP-1861-B instances. A separate team must be deployed.
Why is his and his arm grew 3 sizes that day?
Oh, his hand is also morphing into the arm.
Oh, it's just it's okay. Good job on gun safety, kinda, my man. But again, please stop. Just stop.
You know what that pose reminds me of?
What? High
How
five?
they dance when they're singing the song "Stop in the Name of Love."
Stop! In the name of love! Don't go anywhere near that. You might die.
No.
Anyways.
Interaction with SCP-1861-B instances. A separate team must be deployed with the specific task of locating and preventing access to the vessel. SCP-1861-B instances cannot be destroyed with brute force due to the abnormal durability of their suits. Therefore, preventing civilian abduction can only be achieved through diplomatic communication. Foundation misinformation agents positioned in local news sources and weather monitoring sites are to attribute SCP-1861 to irregularities in air pressure and large quantities of dust present in stormwater. Civilians who enter SCP-1861-A are to be declared legally dead, with causes of death attributed to common inclement weather accidents. If necessary, any witnesses of SCP-1861-A or those who have encountered SCP-1861-B will have their memories wiped. On the 8th of April 2018, a D-Class unit was sent out to conduct an interview with SCP-1861-B. The following is a recording taken from a tiny camera that Subject D-1861-36 was wearing on his chest. Additional footage was taken from cameras that Foundation personnel had planted into the surrounding area. This is an interview with an instance of SCP-1861-B, who claims to be a crew member of the HMS Wintersheimer.
Who are you? Samuel Ramsey of the HMS Wintersheimer. We're evacuating the area. Please, you've got to come with me. You're in danger out here.
Why? What's going on?
I don't have any way to prove this, but I can tell you right now that you're going to die very soon unless you come with me. And that's not a threat, it's a warning. Something really, really terrible is about to happen here.
What? What's going to happen?
Listen, you've got to trust me on this. When this rain stops, you're going to die. I'm not kidding. You're going to die unless you follow me back to our submarine. You'll be safe there.
Just tell me what's going to happen after the rain stops.
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Try me.
Look, I know this is going to sound insane, but this isn't regular rain. It's not from this world. There's another world, a horrible world, and it's leaking into this one. Don't look at me like that. You can see for yourself that it isn't normal rain. It's thick, it's red. Please, you just have to trust
Don't
me.
look at me like that.
I'm
And
begging
he's
you.
just
I'm trying
standing
to
there
save your
with
life.
the fucking.
I've seen what happens to
Yeah.
Like,
I
don't
look
look
at
at
him
me
like
like
that, even if the rain is colored blood and it's thick, because that suit doesn't look normal.
Wait,
He says, "Don't look at me like that," and he's just doing this face.
There's one thing I kind of wonder. Does this rain taste metallic?
It
Don't-
would.
Don't,
It's got
don't
blood
taste
in it.
the blood rain. Don't taste the blood rain.
Why? It's a good source of protein.
Oh, no, it's not.
Right? We don't need. Do we need to tell you that cannibalism is not healthy for you?
Well, I guess that depends. Anyway.
Okay.
to
Hello?
people after the rain, and I'm trying to save you from that. Just come with me, and I swear we'll both survive this.
What kind of world is it? How long has this been happening?
Listen, I want to help you. I swear I do. But if you won't believe me, I have no choice but to go look for someone else who'll come with me. I'm truly, truly sorry, but I can't just stand here arguing with you when there are other people out there I could be trying to save.
After this occurrence, SCP-1861 did not return for a period of approximately 129 days. However, on the 14th of August, 2019, SCP-1861 returned over the Pacific Ocean.
Adding dates.
A D-Class unit was sent out on a boat to investigate the scene and potentially interview more instances of SCP-1861-B. However, the boat was capsized and all 4 members of the D-Class unit disappeared. They were presumed deceased.
What?
What did you think of that
Is-
What?
SCP?
Right?
Adding more D class.
Just
Okay.
like a completely random other
They-
occurrence.
They added more
Hmm.
D-class and death, which is weirdly casual.
Well, also they also changed the day, the amount of time that class the SCP, well, sorry, that D class like was gone for. He was only gone for 60 days.
No,
Wait.
wasn't it 6 months?
It was 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, also, I just realized they got, you know that, talk
Wait,
in the beginning? They
so-
just got rid of it in the interview.
Yeah.
Also, okay. Also, if it was 6 months, what? How many days did they say
I
again?
I didn't catch that.
SCP
Oh, it's wrong one.
However, on the 14th of August, 2019, SCP-1861 returned over the Pacific Ocean.
You're gonna have to go
D-Class
back a
unit
little bit
was sent
further.
Wait,
out
hold
on
on.
a
Oh.
boat to investigate the scene and potentially interview more instances
you're gonna
of
have to go- you're gonna have to go back further.
SCP-1861-B. However, the boat was capsized and all 4 members
Alright, anyways.
Come with me, and I swear we'll both survive this.
What kind of world is it? How long has this been happening?
Listen, I want to help you. I swear I do. But if you won't believe me, I have no choice but to go look for someone else who'll come with me. I'm truly, truly sorry, but I can't just stand here arguing with you when there are other people out there I could be trying to save.
After this occurrence, SCP-1861 did not return for a period of approximately 129 days.
He even got that's not even. Oh my God, that would be 4 months. Do they know? Do they not know math?
Now. Alright.
No.
Alright. Remove character slash license.
I don't think they really removed any characters, especially since
They
like
added one. They
yeah,
added
like
4,
they
5.
added
Did they mention the doctor outside of like
Oh yeah, they removed the
beginning that they
doctor.
cut out?
They removed the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did remove the doctor.
Yeah, but otherwise, basically everything's still intact.
Wait,
I
they replaced the doctor with the 05 member.
Oh God damn it! Yeah.
So they removed the doctor.
Technically, since they cut out the other D class, they cut that character out. So it's at least a 1.
Yeah.
I'd put it at 2.
Okay.
Most of the principal characters are, for the most part, there.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
reworked, but
Yeah.
like in terms
Also-
of what we've seen before, it's not that bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, based on everything I've seen, they didn't need to fucking. They did not need to fucking things.
Yeah. Added gore or
Yeah.
violence.
They
Not
added some
really.
shit for sure.
I don't feel like there
maybe-
was much of any added violence in the video.
Well, no,
I feel
I
like
was
there
saying.
was at least added death, even if there wasn't added visual violence, simply because
Oh, yeah.
of the D class.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah, added violence. Probably just like a 1 or 2.
Just a 1, not even
Yeah.
a 2.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Alright. Deviates from the plot of the article.
Yeah, and, like, there's
2
little
or
bits.
3.
I mean,
They
I don't.
deviate a little, but not a lot.
I'd say
Yeah.
I would-
2 personally.
I,
One or
I would
two,
say
actually.
1. Yeah.
I'm good with a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, same.
I think they like did a weird thing with the time,
Yeah.
and they cut out a conversation, but they didn't really do much. And okay, I see the 2. I forgot they also added the death of a bunch of random class.
Well, to be fair, we don't know that they're actually dead. They're just declared dead because that's how they handle
Right.
anyone that goes missing around this thing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that the next video will just be nothing but looking at these random insert D class.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe.
I
Guess 1.
I would say
I
2 personally.
I would go. Yeah, let's just do a vote. I would say 1. Aderney says 2.
Jerry?
Gary?
Jerry?
I think 1 or 2 would be good.
Okay, so I guess Jerry's like that. Bright, what would you say?
I would say 1, because it mainly kept to the article, just like minor deviations.
Okay, so then
I do
I
feel like taking out the second part of the conversation is at least 1 point.
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair enough.
Mm.
I
Well,
then
like,
I guess
yeah, also
Oh.
was like, like, also like, they
Oh,
did
yeah.
not need 2 parts for this.
Yeah.
that is true.
I'm the same.
But either way, I think 1 is appropriate. Given
Only minute of video
spread of-
/ offensiveness.
Well, there's
was there a
literally
single
only
woman?
men, so
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
only men,
literally
yeah.
only men, and like when they do show a melanated person, it's like 2 degrees of melanin above their standard.
Yeah.
I feel like that's somehow more racist than showing any black people because
Not showing anybody.
yeah, not
But,
showing any
like-
black people simply because they're literally like, this is what's acceptable, the lightest of the
Yeah.
tans.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I would put it at a 2.
Mm-hmm.
A 2 sounds good because they didn't do anything racist outside of
Yeah.
excluding colors, and they didn't do anything super sexist outside of excluding every single woman.
Holy shit! We actually got a high one.
70%.
Nice.
Last time they achieved that was with 294 with 90%.
Yeah. Now watch as they go to shit with part 2.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling this next one's gonna be nothing but 4s. 4s across the board.
Let's double check, make sure. Yep.
Honey!
Yep. Alright, we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm ready.
Alright. In 3, 2, 1.
SCP-1861 is a phenomena in which a certain location on the globe is suddenly struck by a heavy fog and rain, consisting of seawater, human bones, and blood. Whenever this phenomena occurs,
Wait,
What?
it's not
Wait, what?
continuing!
What do you mean human bones?
There's no human bones in it. What?
How do you fuck up? How do you fuck up something that you've already covered in a different video within 10 seconds?
I already
How
say
do you
wrong
do
SCP
that?
design because they said the wrong ingredients
It's
of the
supposed to
rain.
consist of rainwater, salt water, and human blood.
And
Cerebral.
cerebrospinal fluid. Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
you're right. Cerebral spinal fluid. Sorry.
So they just replaced they replaced cerebral spinal fluid with bones.
I'm gonna click
So
wrong.
show of hands, everyone. Who here knows the difference between cerebral spinal fluid and bones?
One
I
is
do.
one is fluid in spine. One is bones.
Oh, yeah. Besides that, bones is something that helps, like, It is the skeleton in the body.
Yeah.
It's
There's probably better ways to describe that, but it is like 1106. And cerebral spinal fluid is something vital for your brain's functioning and for your body's movement. You do
Yeah.
not want to not have that. Bad things happen. I mean, if you don't have bones, you'd be dead, but at least you would be dead. Without the
either way.
cerebral spinal fluid, you could probably still be alive. Just wouldn't be a happy time.
Yeah. Anyways, in 3, 2, 1.
A vessel appears at the exact same time and location, submerging out of any body of water that is capable of holding its surface area, be it a
Are you fucking kidding me, man? Submerging out of any body of water.
Also,
What?
Not any body. It needs to be big enough.
I'm more just pissed that he said submerging out of. It's emerging. It's submerging is when it goes down.
Also, are they just gonna repeat the same video but put worse information?
I guess at the start, their recap is the worst goddamn recap because it gets everything wrong.
Yeah.
swimming
How
pool,
did they get
puddle,
it
or
so
lake.
right the first time, but so wrong the second time?
Yeah. Wait, what the hell is this water?
Cement. That there's cement.
Actually, if water is polluted enough, it'll look that way.
Oh, I
Whee!
guess that's true.
Yeah.
So in other words, this is the oh, what's the name of the river? The river that's like goes through London that was super polluted for a long ass time.
Oh,
Is it
I was just gonna
Thames?
say I was just gonna say London, but
Yeah, it's that river. I want to say it's the Thames, but I can't remember for sure.
Yeah. Anyways.
From this vessel, known as SCP-1861-A, figures dressed in deep diving gear
Oh my
emerge.
god.
These are the instances of SCP-1861-B. These instances' primary goal seems to be to convince other humans to join them in the vessel. However, Foundation personnel realize this would only surely result in death for those individuals.
Wait, we got a whammon. We got a whammon here.
Oh, whammon!
but she
She's
basically
perturbed.
looks like the female version of the guy she's next to.
She kinda does. Maybe they're brother and
Also-
sister.
also, okay, I think the reason why the animations were so different from last time, they might have had a different animator do the humans. Because it's a completely different like animation style.
Gotcha. Anyways, in 3, 2, 1.
So that might be why the like their skin tones were not as pale.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Anyways, in 3, 2, 1.
Numerous attempts have been made by the Foundation to obtain information from these instances. On the 21st of February, another SCP-1861 sighting occurred, and a team of D-Class units were sent out to interview instances of SCP-1861-B. When D-1861-45 entered the scene, he suddenly found himself alone and in a heavy fog. To the left and right, there was nothing but that misty fog that seemed to have a reddish hue to it. D-1861-45 walked forward, and then he shaded his eyes as he thought he could discern a figure in the distance. Sure enough, the figure grew larger as it approached him, and then an instance of SCP-1861-B appeared. D-1861-45 could not see the instance's face, but when it spoke, he immediately recognized its voice.
God.
Sal?
What is with
asked
this padding?
D-1861.
You split this into 2 videos for the second video's recap to feature nothing but padding thus far. You're just like,
And
oh, and
inaccuracies. Somehow,
Yeah.
inaccuracies when you got everything so accurate before for the most part.
Yeah, this is definitely not
and-
getting to 70%.
And there he was, standing there in the mist, mistily
Menacingly.
misting around him. The menacing mistily misty is all around him, and he sees a figure. The figure, it's getting closer. It's getting bigger as it's getting closer. In the mist, the misting mist. Like, come on, man.
Actually, I'm just imagining the. Because he said Misty, I'm just imagining either the Pokemon trainer Misty is raining from the sky or just
I'm just
slowly
going to
moving, letting this
I'm
person
going to
walk
just
forward.
say this, Bright. I do not think Misty would appreciate this kind of water.
Bathe Misty in the blood of her foe.
Oh my god.
Let's not.
But what if we did?
Oh my god.
No, that sounds like a creepy pasta.
It is.
Not creepy pasta, like a horror fanfic.
Anyway, he said 3, 2, 1.
-45.
Mike, it's me.
The instance replied. What? You've been gone for 6 months. Where have you been?
Well, it's a long story.
Well, I have time. D1861-45 then sat on the steps of a nearby store and asked the instance to join him.
What?
The instance, aka Sale, the missing member of the D-class unit that had been sent out and destroyed
he's
6 months
definitely
prior.
saying Sale, but yeah, that could just be a fucking accent. But it's Sale.
I think it's an accent, but
Yeah.
at least it's the right person so far.
Yeah.
My brain
Yeah.
immediately went to the song called
A1 Nation.
Sail.
Yeah. So
The only song I can think of with sail in it is "Come Sail Away with Me."
blame it on my ADD, baby. Now I just want to read. Now I just want to go back and listen to a bunch of old AWOL Nation songs. Damn it!
It's a 3, 2, 1.
Agreed to join D1861-45 and sat on the step beside him. He explained his story to D1861-45, who was recording the whole thing on his camera device.
When our boat got capsized, those people in the suits found us underwater and dragged us over to their vessel.
What?
What?
We had no choice but to follow them
That's
inside.
not.
Okay, so they're changing. They're changing how this D class got brought onto the vessel.
Yep.
By just he was one of the 4 doofuses sent out in the boat, and it capsized, and then he got tossed into the submarine like a bag of potatoes.
Yeah. Wait.
I hate it.
3, 2, 1.
Side. I know. Probably not the best idea. But it was either join them in the vessel or take our chances out on the ocean. We chose to enter the vessel.
And then what happened? Asked D1861-45.
Inside, it's way bigger
This
than it
isn't
looks on
even
the
going to
outside.
get a 50%, is it?
No.
No, it is not.
There are tons of rooms and hallways all filled with the guys in the diving suits. When I got in, there were only a few people who weren't wearing the suits. As soon as we were settled down, the vessel seemed to start moving and seemed like we were traveling. Then one of the guys who had helped me into the ship told me to put a suit on. I asked him why, and he said, it's to save.
Real quick, this place way too sparsely populated. They were
Oh,
packed
yeah.
in that thing like sardines.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess packing characters in like sardines would take more effort to animate.
And it said people were putting their kids, their dogs, their cats into
Yeah.
those suits.
Here's the thing.
And they were probably packing their goldfish into those suits.
Yeah, there's actually one thing I find funny. I haven't watched the show yet, but Invincible, there's a scene where this cartoonist is talking about how in order to draw a bunch of people and not waste a whole bunch of money on animation, it's just the voice and just slowly peering over non-moving people, making it look like they're actually moving. They could have done that. They could have, but they didn't. It's so easy. You just have to slowly move it.
Well, Bright, think of this. Look at the design they went for the suits, and look at the design of how actual suits at that time went. The
Yeah.
actual suits would have been easier to animate, right?
Yeah.
All around me are familiar faces.
Your life. So, I don't know, I just did it. You know, this guy's telling me to put a suit on to save my life, and everyone's doing it, so I did it.
Well, why
They
is he
did
making
it
sound
because-
like doing drugs.
I don't know. But they did it because... Oh, I just realized I forgot to put the bingo board up. Like,
Oh, my ass.
they did it because the submarine started filling up with water.
Instead, he's making it sound like doing drugs. Everyone's doing it.
Everyone was popping the pills, so I popped the pills as well. My mom was popping the pills, my dad was popping the pills, my child was popping the pills. How did they get a hold of the pills? I don't know, but they're popping.
Other people had kids and pets with them, and they were cramming them into the suit with them to keep them alive. Once we-
Go back. This image is by far the best thing to come out of this entire experience for me. The entirety, every single thing that like every single content forums video I've sat in on with y'all, it was leading up to this. It's all downhill from here. This is the pinnacle. This image, just a gray tabby very perturbedly being shoved into a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Festus, would you like to comment? He's asleep. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, also I need to be right back. You
Okay.
can just continue without me. I shouldn't be too long.
Alright. And I guess I'll be starting again in 3, 2, 1.
Then, once we were all in our suits, the vessel just stopped all of a sudden. There weren't any windows, so I couldn't see outside, but without any warning, the sub started filling up with water.
Wait, they tried to drown you?
I don't know, man. The water just kept rising higher and higher. People were screaming and panicking and knocking each other over. It was awful. The guys in the diving suits tried to keep everyone calm, explaining it was part of safety procedures. They gave out diving suits to the rest of us and ordered us to put them on, so we did. I mean, what choice did we have? People who brought their kids and pets were cramming them into the suits just to keep them from drowning to death.
Makes sense.
Wait.
So, I
Wait,
guess
wait,
you
wait.
were all...
Wait, how did the people bring their kids and pets if they fucking had capsized right outside of them in the ocean? Hmm?
I think it was stating in the article that they were cramming.
No, I know. But
Okay.
like I'm talking about like how they are trying to keep it with the article, but also changing that bullshit.
Gotcha.
Adurna has a point. In the article, it made sense because they had just gone to an area full of people. But in their version, there were no people there besides a few D-class.
Yeah. Alright. 3, 2, 1.
trapped down there for a whole nother 6 months until the next blood rain thing happened?
Actually, we didn't have to wait very long at all. That's where things started getting really weird. Once everyone had the diving suits on, they opened the airlock and started letting people leave the sub. They said we could step out into the new world. That's what they called
Why
it.
is it showing the
And
water
then?
drain? Okay.
And then it was crazy. When I stepped out onto the surface, everything looked almost exactly like it had an hour ago. I saw the lake, the trees, the boathouses. Everything was where it had been. But I want to say that it was like everything was underwater. But it was more than that. It was like everything around us was part of the water itself. When you looked up, you didn't see a surface. It just went on forever. And the trees, the boathouses, they weren't solid. They were just a different sort of liquid. Even when you stood on the ground, it was kind of like you were swimming in it, because the ground was liquid. Except you didn't actually have to swim, and even though everything was water, you could still tell there was a lake there. As if the lake was a purer form of liquidness. Sorry, am I making any sense at all here?
Not really. That's okay though. How long were you guys out there like that?
The whole 6 months. We lived like that day and night.
Did you see any animals or other people?
Kinda. We'd see their bodies. They'd float 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and their hair
Oh my
and fur would move like it does when it's underwater. But they always kept their position. Didn't drift away or anything like that. It's really, really weird over there, man. And all the dead things, humans and animals, were missing their eyes.
Oh my
Blood
god.
would just keep pumping non-stop from the sockets and then dissipate into the water around them.
Not bad so
And their
far.
teeth. I can't just say their teeth were gone because that doesn't begin to cover it. It was like someone took a bite out of their face right where their mouth should have been. Teeth, lips, gums, all gone.
And no explanation from anyone? What did the guys who had led you into the sub have to say about all this? The instance seemed to be uncomfortable.
A lot of them said they had the same story we did. The blood rain came, then someone in a suit told them to climb into the sub, then bam, water world. There was this one guy though, he said he was the original captain of the sub. Herschel Guthrie of the HMS Wintersheimer was how he introduced himself. Anyway, the guy was a loony one. Rarely ever spoke coherently. If you asked him about the sub, he'd call it his Ark. If you asked him about the water place, he would call it the New World.
Did anyone try taking their suits off?
They told us not to. They said we couldn't breathe without the suits. But, of course, some people didn't trust them. But as soon as someone took their helmet off, their bodies sort of, I think dissolve would be the best word for it. They weren't solid anymore. They kind of turned into a mist and merged with the water that was all around us.
That was liquid. There was no mist when they dissolved in their animation.
Yeah.
Okay.
They lost their shape, but you could still tell they were there, shapeless and floating.
The instance paused mid-speech. What is it?
Asked D1861-45.
He wasn't having a speech, though. He was talking.
Yeah.
He was just talking. He wasn't making a speech.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
The instance replied.
while I was there, I saw your body. You were floating there, with your eyeballs missing and your teeth. It wasn't like your teeth.
There it goes. I'm back. What the shit, OBS? What the shit was that? Okay, I'm gonna go back a bit more. I'm probably go back here. Just in case. I don't know what that was about. OBS just decided, you know what? Fuck this. They themselves did not want to stream this anymore. Anyways, let's finish this off.
And your teeth. It wasn't like your teeth were missing. It was like someone or something had taken a huge bite out of your face. So your whole mouth, lips, teeth, everything was gone. And it wasn't just you. There were tons of our people.
Okay.
Some I didn't recognize just floating there. Animals too. They told us this is what happened to the rest of the world. We were the lucky ones. I really started believing them. But now I'm here.
The instance paused for a total of 15 seconds and said nothing. Then he spoke.
I'm just so scared. If I'm not human, what am I? If I take this helmet off, what'll I see?
Another 10 seconds of silence. Then,
Before, when we were in that storm together, the guys in the suits told us that we'd die as soon as the rain stopped. And you know what? I thought maybe those guys were right. Maybe everyone else really is dead. And here you are in front of me. I don't get it. I don't know what's real, man.
Sal, why don't you take off the suit now? Asked D1861-45.
Okay.
I shouldn't. They told me this is what's keeping me alive.
Maybe, but you're back now. You should be fine now. The instant seemed to ponder for several seconds, and then he came to a conclusion.
Okay, I'll do it.
The instant stood up and slowly brought his hands to his helmet. D1861-45 watched as the
That's not what
instance turned
happened,
his
but okay.
Yeah. They were hesitant.
helmet, and a click ensued, followed by something that sounded like gas. The instance lifted the helmet, then suddenly a ton of seawater gushed out, followed by 2 eyeballs and some teeth. D1861-45 reared back
That
in
is
horror.
not the eyeballs of a child, nor the teeth of a deer.
Yeah.
So how
And
much did I
wait,
miss? Oh wow, y'all got
if I remember,
this quicker than I thought it would.
if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, wasn't it actually a
The red deer.
no for the deer? Wasn't it like actually what was it called?
A European red deer.
No, not the specific deer. Sorry, I'm thinking about
The
was
jaw.
it a yeah, the jaw. It wasn't just teeth.
Yeah.
I think it was just teeth.
Right, and the teeth of a
Yeah,
European
and
red
teeth,
deer.
yeah.
It doesn't
Oh
say.
yeah, just the teeth.
Yeah. They changed bits and pieces of the final log. And hold on, I can go back and show you the eyes.
Reared back in horror. Later, the
Whoops,
2
too
eyeballs
far.
were identified as a 9-year-old gushed out, followed by 2 eyeballs.
Why are they shaped like eggs?
Also, that's like Jerry said, that's not the size of eyeballs for an 8-year-old child.
Probably not. No.
Also,
Granted, how?
those are not the teeth you would imagine a deer to have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, those are way too conical.
Yeah.
Over here.
Ready to finish it off?
Let me look up a picture of deer teeth.
Oh yeah, by the way, you missed Hatchet a bit ago earlier, like a minute or two ago. Obi has decided I'm done streaming this and disconnected.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was no internet issue or anything. It just OBS decided, fuck this.
Yeah, that happens. Copy image. Yeah, so deer's teeth. Look, oh my god, you took a screen cap. Perfect. Deer's teeth, as you might imagine, because their teeth are meant to crush up plants, look quite a bit like molars.
Yeah.
Not like these conical incisor / canine looking things.
Anyways. 3, 2, 1, let's finish this.
And some teeth. D1861-45 reared back in horror. Later, the 2 eyeballs were identified as a 9-year-old boy's, and the teeth were tested.
Wait.
So, are we gonna call the... I mean, not only like the flip-flopping of gender and sex signifiers, but you know, the switching from male or from female to male. We're
Yeah,
gonna call
they
that
put
sexism.
out the remains of a female, which kind of weird. It's like this weird amount of gender erasure that I'm very confused about. It's not even an official character. It's the eyeballs of someone who might have existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do these burritos never get wholly heated through?
So what I do is halfway through the microwaving, I stop it and I flip it and then continue.
Oh, that's what I did. It's just like I put them in for the correct time. I know for a fact if I put them in for any longer, they just fucking detonate like bombs. But
Oh,
there's
they
always
probably need to be wrapped in a moist towel.
a moist towel. What I've been doing is like I have one of those little like domes for microwaving things that kind of acts similarly to the like putting a paper towel over them. Like it
For,
basically traps all the heat into a little conical
for
shape.
burritos, typically they have their own little packet that you're supposed to keep it in. So even with the domes, you're still supposed to keep it in. But with
And they,
some others, you're supposed to wrap it in a moist cloth because burritos are kind of weird. If they're not heated in certain ways, they won't cook right.
yeah, I mean, I've been following every direction that they
Gotcha.
actually gave.
Well,
It's just odd because like almost everything gets heated all the way through. It's just like one or two spots where it's just like, oh, instead of being heated to 1,000 degrees, it's like 500 degrees.
yeah. Anyways, let's continue. We're almost done.
It is belonging to a Persian cat. The rest of the dive
Persian cat. They changed the species of the deer
Oh my
to
God.
cats.
Well, I guess they showed the teeth accurately if you're trying to show the teeth of a cat.
Well, technically, no, because that's not how
Oh, yeah.
cat's teeth look.
At least, like,
Yeah.
some of the front.
Thank you, you piece of shit, OBS.
Do you need a hug?
No.
For the viewers listening, the synopsis of what we talked about in between stream disconnecting and us coming back live is boy chicken eyes.
Basically, we find it very silly that they race swapped the teeth and gender swapped the eyes.
There's
Oh,
species
species
swaps.
swaps.
Well, oh yeah, I said race. Okay,
Yeah.
species swapped the teeth. I'm sorry.
A cat is a race of deer now.
No, 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 no. Deer is a race of cat. Get it right.
No, they're not that closely related at all. Cats are more closely related to bears than they are deer.
Anyways, let's finish this.
diving suit was empty, except for some traces of seawater. So, what did you think of that SCP case? Comment your thoughts.
I think I want to shove something up your nose.
Alright, removal of character status license. They didn't put the doctor in again.
Wait, they actually didn't put the doctor in at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was replaced with 05 long dick.
Also, doesn't them changing like how the I want to put it at like higher than the last one.
Yeah, because how they...
Yeah, because the only characters in the article they included were modified. Their histories were modified. Their relationships with each other were modified. It's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a 3, I'd say.
Yeah,
I'm
Unless,
fine with that.
yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I
Alright,
didn't see most of it, so I can't.
added gore or violence? No, not really.
No added gore or violence, but I will say the clip of the cat is.
I'm gonna say a 1 for spite. Personally.
For spite.
First bite, that's fair.
Okay, I guess
That's
it's fair.
but
Deviates from
well,
the...
I
I don't
mean,
think
like,
we do it. I don't think we do spite ratings though.
Yeah, we
Oh.
don't.
I know.
So,
That's why I said for me.
yeah.
Since he has 0.
Right. Use your brain.
Alright, deviates from the plot of the article. Yes.
3 or a 4. 3 or a 4.
Yeah, like
It
the
can't be a 4, but it's definitely very up there.
yeah, like the from what y'all have said, it followed along with the plot of the experiment log, but it just the entire setup is completely different, so the entire dynamic is different.
Yeah, there was
Like if you
like,
change the story at the very beginning, it's gonna cause ripple effects.
I think
the
I'd
way
already
And
know.
also
the two characters spoke together, it was more like speaking to a colleague than a friend, where in the article they spoke more like friends. Also,
Yeah.
there's never an instance where they said, this person asked me to tell you or ask you to do this, or
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like that. Also, changing the location of where Dash A popped up changes like the ability to, oh, that feels nice.
Also, I
the
think
ability for like the other people to be in.
Yeah, the other people to get there. Also, they changed how Dash A worked in that,
yeah.
like, and the Dash B, instead of telling people to get on in the suits, they were kind of acting like they were forcing people into the suits when they weren't. It was basically like, get in the suit or you will drown. It's like, okay.
I mean, to be fair, like an ultimatum is still an ultimatum.
Well, yeah, also, and they spoke about like getting in the suit kind of like taking drugs instead of not dying.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's doing it, so I did it. That's
Yeah.
that is not how it went.
Also,
Everyone's injecting the weed pills into their spleens, so I might as well too.
yeah. Also, there's one thing I will notice. I not notice. Will say. I think I know what the last one.
What's the last one again?
Only men in video / offensiveness.
Oh yeah.
3. 3 or 4 for me.
I'm guessing there was
Well,
only
like,
men.
There
there
was
was only
there was a
one
couple
woman.
women.
There
There
was-
was
There was
one
one
woman,
woman.
and she looked like the female version of the doctor she was next to, which is interesting if you think about it. She even had the pink version of his shirt, only he had a turtleneck and she had a more open neck.
Yeah.
Like a fruit top.
Yeah, the reason why I said I think I know it was gonna be high because literally the last sentence was brutally changed.
Right, yeah, because
And
it remains.
I said like female version because the more open shirt is seen as more feminine by more stereotypical things, and the turtleneck more of
Yeah.
a intellectual
Sure.
male sort of thing, which I think is stupid. But
Yeah.
symbolic wise, they're literally like that.
Yeah,
And
I'd say 3. Also, there was no
there
was
no
only white
people of
people.
color. They even showed a cat getting in the suit, but they did not show black people. Apparently, black people aren't allowed to live.
Well, that was an uncomfortable statement.
Yeah, I get the 3 now. Yeah.
Yeah, and plus there's the eyes.
Mhm.
The eyes being
Yeah, they
sex
gender
swapped.
swapped to the eyeballs.
Also, I'm not sure if it would be offensive to change the species from deer to cats.
Festus, are you
really.
offended? Festus,
Well,
are you
it's
offended?
offensive to me, but it's not like offensive like as in the
Festus,
like thing where the kind of offensive we're meaning.
It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, why'd they do this?
Festus is so conked out. I'm calling his name and he's still the same.
Oh my
One
gosh,
minute,
you guys are
you
not
and-
gonna believe this.
What?
What?
The second video is literally the first one.
I mean, I believe it.
Yeah.
Why would I not believe it?
I just find it funny that it's literally half.
That is funny.
Well, it did take half of the content from the first video and do it worse.
Oh.
Yeah. My God. Which makes me wonder, because, like, we also got another part 1 and part 2. Yeah, 093 part 1 and 093 part 2.
Those are, oh my god. It would be so funny if those were like the opposite, the like part 2 was better than part 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Hatchet. I'm not sure how you're gonna feel about this. They did SCP-4666, the old man.
Oh no.
I know that's one of your favorites.
Mm. Mm.
Maybe they won't do it like that one content farm where they made him look like a predator.
They're going to. Anyways. Now go ahead and ending soon. And find someone to raid. I just find it funny. The both times where we saw something where the content farm messed up, Obius decided, fuck this, I'm done.
Well, we did find stuff that they messed up before that, but
You know what?
Yeah.
That's a vibe, OBS.
Obius was just done.
Oh boy, my favorite activity is looking on Twitter, and my feed is police brutality and then hentai over and over again. That's it.
oh my god.
America.
So that's some whiplash.
Yeah, it's real world horrible thing happening right here in our homegrown little fucking dictatorship, and sexy artwork as a pick me up
By
before I
the
see
way,
more.
I snabbed I believe it was a mayor, or was
Oh
it a
yeah, I saw
senator?
that.
It was a mayor and a mayor and a few members of Congress. Also, there are multiple videos of ICE arresting small children now.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
just great.
Okay, so yeah, the ICE is legitimately just the Gestapo.
Also, at least one video out there exists of ICE attacking and arresting a mother with an infant.
Yeah.
As in, acting aggressively towards her while she is the infant.
Yeah. And conspicuously, while they're constantly talking about how it's awful to mask, they're always having masks all over their faces. Can't imagine why.
I mean, if they're supposedly taking down they shouldn't be scared at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's just remembering the term terrorist. That just makes me think of a post I saw where someone was talking about like one of those big protests that's been happening at universities, and someone was like, these protesters caused $1 million worth of damage and vandalism. That goes beyond protesting and into terrorism. And then someone responding by simply saying, hey, fun fact, in modern day's money, the Boston Tea Party destroyed $1.7 million worth of merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
So if this isn't protesting, then neither is one of the most defining moments of the early United States.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also people that were trying to say the woman who peacefully protested against the bathroom ban thing shouldn't have peacefully protested and should have gone about it a different way.
Yeah, it's just like
These are the same people who probably like to say things, don't protest violently, do it peacefully. But sometimes peaceful protest involves breaking the law
Yeah.
because it's stupid.
Anyways, I already posted raid words. During last words go.
Bright as a catbird. Also support her fundraiser, please, if you can.
Thank you. Jerry, last words go.
I await the joyful time where we eventually see you as a bird.
Oh my god.
Hey, that much money was raised, right? So you have to do the
Yes.
bird. At least once.
I'm probably gonna do a just chatting stream where I'm gonna have you guys literally just shouting suggestions for the pre-bird model. Like, I just be on the...
I feel like that'd be a better thing to, like,
Yeah.
have, like, a Twitter poll. And, like, combine that with, like, a Discord poll. And
On
see what
what,
you get.
which bird they'll be?
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Like, have, like, those of us around you, like, narrow it down to a handful of options and then put those polls out there.
Alright.
We
Yeah,
could do a tournament style, too.
I was gonna do something funny where I put chat on, like, in a judge's chair, and I'm, like, just in front of it, just waiting the verdict.
If I had my way, everyone would have at least...
And Discord cut you off.
Yeah, you got cut out, what'd you say?
If I had my way, everyone would have at...
It did again.
If I had my way, everyone would have at least one chicken avatar.
Okay. There we go.
I find it funny if Discord cut you off twice. Anyways, Hatchet, last words go.
My last words are, when I was a young boy,
My god.
my father shot me out of a cannon. I died of blunt force trauma.
My god. Yeah, also, next Tuesday we'll go back to groups of interest.
Yay. Groups of interest. I love groups of interest.
Here's the funny thing, though. Basically, I looked and we're almost done with the major groups of interest. We're gonna go to the side ones not many people talk about. And there is a third, which is even lesser. We're not going to go towards them, because it'll be another 100, for one. Secondly, they're mainly just either two things, such as, like, O5 Council and MTF are technically a group of interest in that third group. They would just be put on the foundation. And secondly, there would either be a new group that only has a sentence explaining them with no connections to SCPs or Tails whatsoever. Which would make it almost impossible to place. Because usually the sentence is very vague. I think one was like, they're the anomalous storehouse that stores anomalies. That's literally... I'm like, that's it?
I mean, I guess we could place them just with, like, gut feeling and vibes.
Right, that's what I'm going to have to do.
They're an anomalous storehouse that stores anomalies. True neutral.
Yeah. Also, I did find out, like, other people did do tier listing of the groups of interest, but some of the groups that we did, they didn't do, such as Just Curly Things. Apparently they didn't want to touch that group. Which is
We will
fair.
touch all the groups.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but they also didn't touch the subgroups. Yeah, they ain't just subgroups though, which is what we're gonna get into.
Yay.
Yeah. But anyways, Danger Noodles, I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you guys next time for your next. What do you mean it's the... Oh, I misspelled their name.
Oh my god, Sprite.
Who needs us to mess with your stream when you manage to do it all on your own?
Anyways, Danger Noodles, we'll see you guys next time for your next mission. Be kind to streamer. Only annoy the shit out of Hatchet when they stream. Tomorrow. Annoy them. And, I'll
You
be...
little shit.
I'll be collabing with a bunch of VTubers tomorrow with Repo if my computer will not have a shit fit. But anyways, see you guys tomorrow and come penis burger.
Right.
I put a very important